This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Right now, the Patriots ready to spend all that money they have this offseason. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, New England agreed on contracts with a couple of players today. 4 years, $56 million with former Ravens pass rusher Matthew Judon. 4 years, $24 million with Eagles DB Jalen Mills, and 4 years, $50 million with former Titans tight end Jonnu Smith. Expect a much different New England team in 2021, says ESPN's Booger McFarland.
New England Patriots are going to run the football, play action pass. That's where the tight end comes at. Jonnu Smith is going to be deadly over the middle, but the hallmark of this team is going to be their defense next year. It's going to be lights out. They have their pass rusher, the guy that can get out the quarterback. You add Chung and Hightower. I expect this to be back being a formidable unit in New England.
Schefter also reports the Buccaneers and star pass rusher Shaq Barrett agreed to a 4-year deal worth up to $72 million. Barrett will join Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mehenti tomorrow morning at 9 Eastern. Indiana fired basketball coach Archie Miller after 4 mediocre seasons and no NCAA tournament appearances.
What? Just 15 seconds to talk about Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea? That smooth taste of real brewed iced tea with just the right kick of alcohol? What? We started already? Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Look for it in the bright yellow cans. Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
I appreciate it, bud. Have a good one.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
The Brain.
Hey, the brain got a poop.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Man, we got a lot to get to today. What a weekend. LSU is back in the NCAA tournament. LSU baseball with as dramatic a series sweep as you might ever see. Pelicans catching fire, but all of that pales in comparison to the news which came down on Sunday. It was a much anticipated and long awaited decision, but finally, via Instagram, Drew Brees made the announcement that his time, his career, not only in New Orleans, but in the NFL, is over.
After 15 years in the Saints and 20 years in the NFL, our dad is finally going to retire. So we can spend more time with us. Yay!
So it was actually the Brees children that did the honors via Instagram with the 3 boys, each wearing one of Drew's jerseys. I think Callan, who is his youngest, is wearing the color rush, so he gets brownie points for that. I know that today there is a lot that we have to unpack. LSU basketball had an amazing weekend, running through the SEC tournament, and were literally inches away from winning the tournament for the first time in almost 40 years. And they got hosed, I'm going to say it, as an 8 seed. And LSU baseball choked away 2 leads and then rallied in the most improbable fashion to win on Saturday and Sunday, and we're going to talk about that as well. But the reality is, anything other than dedicating almost the entirety of this show to Drew Brees is completely short-sighted. So what I want to do today is we will talk about all the other stuff. And I have it on the rundown to sprinkle in. And I want to talk about the seeding. I want to talk about the SEC tournament. I want to talk about baseball. I want to talk about Pelicans. I got to talk about Taysom Hill's contract, I'm using air quotes, which we'll get to. But I do want to have an open forum today. That if you want to call, text, email, tweet, jump in the chat, however you want to, I will keep the phone lines open the entire show. And if there's anything that you want to say today, I'll give you the platform. I'll open up the phones because let's be real. Drew Brees is the most influential athlete the state of Louisiana has ever seen. Now, let me quantify that for you, or qualify it. Because we can quantify that statement with championships. And you could say, well, Skip won 5 in baseball. Or you could talk about any of the LSU football coaches that have won. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can quantify success. But the reason that Drew Brees is the most influential athlete, and maybe the most influential sports figure this state has ever seen, is because Drew Brees did something that in sports, in personal relationships with things that we have or have hold of us, in business, in life, one of the hardest things to do is to fundamentally change the culture of something. For 40 years, the New Orleans Saints were losers. My favorite team, some of you, many of you, your favorite team, they were losers. Not even lovable losers like the Cubs were, because people like the Cubbies and they played at daytime on WGN. The Saints just sucked. They had awful ownership. They had awful management. They had bad coaches and players. A history of gaffes. John Gilliam returned the opening kickoff of the franchise for a touchdown, and for 40 years, it never got better. They were the Aints. We wore bags over our heads. We expected them to lose. Our expectation collectively was they're going to blow it. There they go again. This draft pick won't work. He'll be a bust. They were a punchline. Many people in this state chose to cheer for teams that weren't the Saints because they didn't want to support a loser. And that's what the Saints were for 40 years. Everyone in the NFL knew it, and everyone in the state knew it. And for the last 15 years, every single time the New Orleans Saints took the field, I expected them to win. I'm not saying they were going to go undefeated for 15 years. Don't misunderstand me. I know that's not realistic. My point is, there was never a time, not once, that they ran out onto the field and I thought, well, they're screwed today. No shot. Sure, they were an underdog at times. No doubt. I mean, it happens. But there was never a game that the Saints won over the last 15 years where I went, I can't believe they beat that team. The expectation became they're going to find a way to win. The expectation was Drew Brees is, hey, you're down a score with 2 minutes to go. Drew Brees run it out onto the field. The expectation was, well, Drew's going to go lead a game-winning touchdown drive because it's Drew Brees. It is the hardest thing in the world to do, to change the culture around something. And Drew Brees, over the last 15 years, did it in New Orleans. So much so that at this point on this day, so many of the people, you and me, who have cheered for him in this franchise for 40 years or for 50 years now, and for him over the last 15, were actually ready for this moment because we believe the next guy is going to be better. And the only reason we believe that is because he changed the culture around that franchise. The New Orleans Saints won a Super Bowl championship. There was a man, God rest his soul, on radio for a long time in New Orleans, Buddy Diliberto, who always said he would wear a dress if he ever saw the Saints win a Super Bowl, and he didn't live to see it, but Bobby Hebert wore the dress for Buddy D. But that's how outlandish a thought it was. And Brees climbed that mountain. And he changed the culture so dramatically that even though he won a Super Bowl, and the Saints over the last 4 years won more games than anybody in the NFL, part of the conversation around Drew Brees is actually, man, he should have won more. I mean, never mind the fact that you had a call go against New Orleans, which literally changed the way the NFL judged replay, and another play which has attached to it the name Miracle, the Minneapolis Miracle, that eliminated the Saints from the postseason. Otherwise, who knows? But sometimes the breaks don't go your way. But in total, what's happened is we are bidding farewell to the most influential sports figure in the history of our state. And I don't even think there's an argument for number two. Excuse me. The argument begins at number two. Man, wish Drew Brees all the success in the world in retirement. If it's TV, whatever we all get to watch his kids grow up to be part of this state, this state is going to feel like that family is part of the fabric of this state forever, in the same way that people from New Orleans and from this state cheered for Archie and Eli and Cooper as they've gone on to do great things. And I understand they went to different SEC schools, but you know my point. I think the Brees children 10, 20, 30 years from now will say the same thing about them, wherever they may go. You'll always sort of have an attachment because we saw those children grow up from Balin reaching for the confetti as Drew Brees hoisted the Lombardi trophy to now they're having four children and whatever they may go on to do. But Drew Brees deserves every good thing that comes his way in retirement. He gave so much to the city of New Orleans, the state of Louisiana, the Gulf region. He rehabilitated his career post-arm injury at the time that New Orleans and the Gulf region were rehabilitating post-Katrina. The symbiotic nature of that is a beautiful story to be told as it has been written the last 15 years. And I am very interested and excited to see what the future of the Saints organization holds. But whatever it holds, whatever promise it may have, it's because Drew Brees came along and changed the culture from the ain'ts, from the losers that existed for 40 years to a team we all believe are going to get the next guy right. All right, it's after further review. Phone lines are open. Would certainly welcome you. 499-1045, 499-1045, or toll-free 844-568-MATT, 844-568-6288. Phone lines are wide open. Join us. Talk Drew Brees. If you want to, I don't even care if you want to say thanks to Drew Brees, or if there's a moment from his career that you want to talk about, join us on the jimsfirearms.net phone lines. Okay, we'll get some of your calls, texts, emails, tweets, all of that coming up. We will also talk about LSU's appearance in the SEC tournament and getting hosed by the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee. That's coming up. Glad you're here on a Monday edition of AFR, presented by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
$29,995 for a new Ford F-150. Bayou Ford in LaPlace has brand new 2020 Ford F-150s for only $29,995. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Sports wouldn't be the same without the diehard fans. That's why we're highlighting the fans that do the most. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge brings you the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week. Check it out at 1045ESPN.com, the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week.
I'm feeling good. So good. I just thought you should know.
Cool on that.
The moment you realize something is truly luxury is the moment you put it to use. Purchase or lease a new Infiniti QX80 online today with Infiniti Now.
Visit Infiniti of Baton Rouge at 13540 Airline Highway or online at InfinityDR.com.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Pearl has the best oysters in Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
How about those four kiddos, though? Being able to get down on that field, what they're going to experience. Incredible.
Brees wide open. Wide open! And Smith! What a way to do it!
Drew Brees becoming the NFL's career passing leader. So many moments like that. Passing touchdowns, passing yardage, completions, consecutive games with a touchdown. The litany of accolades for Drew Brees as he will be celebrated here for the rest of his life and certainly far beyond it. We'll wait to see what the Saints' plans are for honoring Drew Brees. My assumption is they will waste no time and retire his number 9 coming up in this 2021 season. It will be interesting to see who's under center. I'm going to come to the phone calls here in just a quick second, and there are lines open if you want to join us. 499-1045, 499-1045, or toll-free 844-568-MATT. Yes, Taysom Hill got a $140 million contract. No, the Saints are not paying Taysom Hill $140 million. That was strictly a cap-saving move in how they restructured his deal. So the Saints are going to save about $7.5 million against the cap. Everything they added to the deal is completely voidable. So Taysom Hill isn't going to get more years or more money. They just did that to be able to spread out a cap hit to lower his cap number this year. So, no, this isn't. Can you imagine if the Saints actually gave Taysom Hill more money than the Cowboys gave Dak Prescott? I just want to get that out of the way from jump. All right, let's go to the phones. I told you we'd let you talk all day today if you want to about Drew Brees. Listen, I'm going to talk about March Madness. I'm going to talk about baseball and everything we got to talk about. But we got tomorrow and the rest of the week leading up to LSU's game against St. Bonaventure on Saturday and start a conference playing baseball on Friday. We got all that. We got all week to get to that. I mean, this is the first show after Drew Brees retired, and it's worth the time. Jacob is in Harahan. Jacob, thanks for the call.
How you doing, Matt?
I'm good, man. Thank you.
I just wanted to call and say, I'm 19, so I didn't really experience the bags over the head days and the aims. You just watch videos and stuff, but 2005 is when I started trying to keep up with it. Then won Super Bowl, and it's easy for all these players to come out and play when they're winning. But Drew Brees, he came to this town when the low at our knees, and he came out when Brandon Browner was the starting cornerback and held every receiver, and he still came out and put up 5,000 passing yards, and he did everything for us. So I just wanted to say thank you to him. Coming back after that thumb injury, the rib injuries, the collapsed lung, the shoulder injuries, he never stopped believing. I was there for the touchdown record last year against the Colts, when he also, I think he broke the completion record that year or that game for a single game. So it's just, he gave so much, and hopefully, down here we'll never forget him, but hopefully nationally they'll give him the respect he deserves.
Well said, Jacob. I appreciate it. Nationally, the respect he deserves, I think certainly he's getting. Actually, I'm looking up on TV in studio, and NFL Live is on. They were just talking about Drew Brees. Now they're talking about who's next, if it's Winston or Taysom Hill. But there are going to be some outliers. There's going to be some people that will undoubtedly try to throw the wet blanket on Drew Brees' career and point out that with all of the wins and all the regular season success, he only, air quotes, has the one Super Bowl. Well, I mean, Brett Favre has one Super Bowl. There are many great quarterbacks who have traveled that road as well. I mean, there are great quarterbacks that don't have any. Of course, people mention Hall of Famers like Dan Marino, Dan Fouts. But it also shouldn't be the sole metric by which a quarterback is judged. Now, if you're having the greatest of all time conversation, that is unavoidably the cornerstone, the seminal piece of that conversation. And I've said, I don't believe Drew Brees is the greatest quarterback of all time. And that's Tom Brady. Is Drew Brees in the top 10 with an argument in the top 5? Without a doubt. But like I said in the open today, man, he changed the culture. Speaking of which, Drew Brees was on the Today Show this morning, and he did discuss what went into his retirement decision.
That's a decision that you don't just wake up one day and say, "Hey, I'm going to retire." It's definitely a process. And listen, I'm 42 years old. I've had a chance to play this game for 20 years in the NFL, and I think for the last few years, I felt like this moment was coming. And it just made me so laser focused on staying in the moment each and every day, enjoying the moment, enjoying the preparation, enjoying the grind, enjoying the celebrations with my teammates, just knowing that at some point I will retire and move on to the next chapter. And I want to be able to look back with incredible memories and knowing that I gave it my absolute best.
I think Drew Brees, in a candid moment sooner or later, maybe in a book, whenever that may come, we'll discuss why he continued playing these last few years, despite the injuries that Jacob, the caller a bit ago, mentioned. If it was the thumb a year ago, the broken ribs, collapsed lung this year, many of the ailments that he had, he was chasing a second because that's legacy. For the same reason that we're not even 2 segments into the show today, and it's part of what is brought up about how do you judge him and where his place is in history, considering he just has the one Super Bowl? It's why Peyton Manning going to Denver and getting a second one was so important, because you do have players like Brad Johnson and Trent Dilfer and Mark Rippon and Jeff Hostetler, guys that won a Super Bowl. Is Drew Brees light years ahead of all of the men I just mentioned? Yes, it's not even a discussion. But in that sort of cornerstone piece of how people judge quarterbacks and rank them in the pantheon, it's why second matters so much. It's why John Elway getting 2 at the end of his career was so significant, because the conversation about that was best to never win it, until he won 2 at the end. So I think Drew Brees was chasing legacy at the end and wanted so badly to win another one. But I think the reality at this point set in that the Saints, as they're constructed, were going to win a lot of games, but when it came time in the postseason, they needed more. The other thing that I wanted you to hear from Brees on the Today Show, he did talk about New Orleans specifically and why it worked so well with the city, the franchise, the organization, and Brees and his family.
I feel like there was divine intervention there. I can remember like it was yesterday, Brittany and I visiting New Orleans, and it was 6 months post-Katrina, and, the city was just in shambles. And I think the Saints were trying to show us the best of the city, and they were trying to show us, maybe some neighborhoods that were still intact, and, hey, look, you can live here, you can raise a family, this is a great place. And it wasn't until Sean Payton got lost driving us back to the Saints facility at one point, because keep in mind, he'd only been there a month. And he got lost in Lakeview, right next to the 17th Street Canal, where some of the worst flooding and destruction had occurred. And I remember seeing houses ripped off the foundations. And in fact, at one point, the car stopped, and we both looked up, and there was a tugboat in the middle of the road. And so we had to turn around because we couldn't pass. And that was the moment where Brittany and I looked at each other and said, this is so much more than just football. This is part of the resurrection, resurgence to one of America's greatest cities. And we have a chance to be a part of this. This is a calling.
Yeah, goosebumps. I don't know how you could think anything less than what he said there about divine intervention, it being a calling. It was so much more than just playing football. And the two came together at a moment in time. What is next for New Orleans is certainly a big question, and we will continue to talk about that today. But I am going to take a lot of your interaction and reaction today. You can always text the show as well. In the 225, it's 396-4400, 396-4400. I got this text from Glenn, who said, Matt, kind of emotional on hearing the final word on Drew Brees' retirement. I knew it was coming, but remembering all his accomplishments and making it official hits me. As a lifetime Saints fan since 1967, really hard. We'll never see a man so committed to the team, city, state, and community. God bless him in the future. It's not even just about winning football games. It is all he did through the Drew Brees Dream Foundation and all of the different charitable endeavors that he's done in New Orleans, the state of Louisiana, the Gulf South, all of the businesses that he's invested in and grown, be it Walk-Ons or Dunkin' Donuts or Jimmy John's. I mean, you know the list by now, but he's in so many ways the most influential sports figure our state has ever seen. It's after further review. Glad you are with us. We'll continue to take your calls, texts, emails, tweets, so please keep them coming. 499-1045 if you want to join us. 499-1045 or toll free 844-568-MATT, 844-568-6288. I will get some of your comments in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat as well, so feel free to keep them coming. We're brought to you by Relief Windows. Glad you're hanging out with us here. We'll knock out a quick break, get to more of your interaction. We will go around the SEC, and we'll talk a little bit about what happened to LSU basketball over the weekend. Glad you're here. Stick around on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, and where you'll always have a great customer service experience. I love sharing these reviews. This is one that came in via Google, which reads, Olin arrived on time for our seasonal tune-up. He found a problem with our capacitor. He immediately and thoroughly explained everything to us. He advised us of the repair options and fees associated with each. We never felt pressured into one over the other. Once we chose our repair option, he was able to repair it right away. We'll recommend River City's 1 Hour Air to everyone. They are always professional, timely, and affordable. That is an actual Google review from one of your friends and neighbors about River City's 1 Hour Air. It's the same experience that I share with you day in and day out. And if it's not Olin, it'll be another great technician that comes to your house to take care of whatever issue you have. River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Have you been issued a ticket for texting, speeding, or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 225-343-1111 or connect with us online at ocbrown.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana Products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana Barbecue Sauce, Louisiana Molasses Mustard, Spicy and Sweet Barbecue Rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
$29,995 for a new Ford F-150. Bayou Ford in Laplace has brand new 2020 Ford F-150s for only $29,995. All new.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
We just believed in ourselves, and we knew that we had an entire city and maybe an entire country behind us. And what can I say? I've tried to imagine what this moment would be like for a long time, and it's even better than expected. But God is great. And we've got the best ownership family in the league, best head coach, best general manager, and the best team. And we proved that here tonight.
Drew Brees in Miami after winning Super Bowl 44. Brees' time with the Saints officially now has come to an end, as he announced on Sunday via Instagram. And we're spending a big bulk of the day today paying tribute to number 9, the most influential athlete ever to come through the state of Louisiana. We'll get to all of your calls, texts, emails, tweets, reaction. But we are approaching the start of the league year, so we are expecting the Saints to re-sign their free agents. And, of course, they still have a lot of cap moves that need to be made. So as this breaks, and we expect it will throughout this week, of course, because the Saints still have a lot of cap work that needs to be done to come within cap compliance before the start of the league year, we'll certainly let you know. A little bit of breaking news. The Saints. This is Adam Kaplan at Kaplan NFL. The Saints have re-signed offensive tackle James Hurst. This is per Hurst's agent, so Jack Bekta. So James Hurst will be back in New Orleans. This is an important pickup. Hurst, of course, is a swing lineman who can play inside and out. And when the Saints snagged him last year, he had been in Baltimore, was a free agent. New Orleans signed him. And then with some of the injuries on the offensive line that we saw, he did garner time on both the left and the right side of the line this year, both guard and tackle. So depending on what may happen in the draft and in free agency or any possible trade, Hurst could become even more valuable of a piece on the Saints line. I don't want to spend too much time on this right now, but when you're talking about a guy that's played more than 50 career games, who's got experience, the Russell Wilson trade possibility is not dead, from everything I've been told and understand. And if the Saints are able to do a deal that might involve, let me rephrase that, that would absolutely involve players and picks, a player involved in that trade could be an offensive lineman. And be it inside or out, a guy like Hurst could see his value increase because he may have to move up a chair, if that makes sense. May, and if not, he remains in the same role he was in a year ago for New Orleans, which was certainly a very valuable one. All right, it's after further review. We are going to go around the SEC in just a quick second. Let me bring in Mike in Laplace, who waited. Mike, thanks for the call, man. Go ahead.
Thank you, Matt. Hey, I just want to point out a few things. It's not so much the play of Drew Brees, but it's some of the experiences and memories that, in my case, will last me a lifetime. For instance, being with my son, I was born and raised in New Orleans and lived in New Orleans during Katrina. To be back in that dome for that first opening night game back with Atlanta, when it was just an electric moment for everything that went on there, and to remember sitting in the Superdome with my son again for the NFC Championship game where they went to the Super Bowl. Those aren't Drew Brees memories, but he's part of those memories I have with my son. Thank you, Matt.
Well said. Thank you, Mike. And those are memories that wouldn't have happened without Drew Brees in New Orleans. It's so true. Yeah, I think we sort of default to kind of like Mike did there. I mean, I was there for the Dome coming. Of course, we default to the NFC Championship. I was there for the NFC Championship game against the Rams, the Nola no call. But we default to those moments. But there was a year, I want to say it might have been 2011 or 12, where the Saints played on Monday Night Football against Miami. And Erica and I drove down to New Orleans. We had some friends who were kind enough to invite us to sit with them in their suite. And the New Orleans Saints just kicked the dog crap out of Miami that day. I mean, and it was so much fun. It was during that run when the Saints were just so dominant in the Dome in prime time. And it's just even games like that where I don't even remember the significance in that particular season about a game. You know what I mean? But it's just those moments, man, those singular moments that you can remember that were there because they were just always that dominant. All right, it's after further review. Brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, WilliamsonEye.com, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. I was talking to my cousin over the weekend, my cousin Steven. He had LASIK. Man, I think like maybe, what was when we were in college? Let's call it 2001 or so, Steven had LASIK. So 20 years ago, had LASIK. And he's at a point now, and I always say, Dr. Blake told me, LASIK never wears off. What happens is the rest of your eye can continue to age. I mean, LASIK is just changing the shape of your eye. That doesn't wear off. It's just your eye, the rest of your eye can age. Well, he had LASIK 20 years ago and now is wearing glasses again because he has a lens issue. Anyway, went to Dr. Blake, and they're going to be able to do PRK. So there's another option available for him now. I tell you all the time, no matter where you are in life, there is a refractive option available to where you will never have to wear contacts or glasses again. That's how far ophthalmology has come. And Dr. Blake Williamson at the Williamson Eye Center, he's the best. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. Okay, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
We're going to run through the SEC teams in the NCAA tournament. So, of course, Bama won both the regular season and the SEC tournament title. They landed the 2 seed in the East. They'll face 15 seed Iona in the first round. Should the Crimson Tide win, they'll be off to face 7 seed UConn or 10 seed Maryland.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Arkansas landed a 3 seed. They'll take on number 14 Colgate in their opening round matchup in the South region. Should the Hogs win in advance, they'd face the winner of Texas Tech and Utah State. Of course, Texas Tech, the 6th seed, was in Baton Rouge earlier this season.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Vols got sent to the Midwest, where they will be the 5 seed, and this is one I have a major issue with, which we'll talk about coming up in a bit. Their opening round game, the Oregon State Beavers. Should the 5th seeded Tennessee Vols advance, they would take on the winner of Oklahoma State and Liberty. OSU had a fantastic year. That could be a really interesting potential 5-4 matchup in the second round.
The Florida Gators.
And one that I would really blow a gasket about probably real soon. Gators are the 7th seed in the South region. Opening matchup is against the 10th seed Virginia Tech. Should they win, they would face 2 seed Ohio State. Of course, LSU, as we know, is the 8th seed in the East. They'll take on St. Bonaventure. And should they win, they take on Michigan in the second round.
The Missouri Tigers.
And Mizzou, the last of the SEC teams to land a bid. 9 seed, sent to the West region. Normally I'd say sent out west, but everything is in Indiana this year. So not really going out west, but to the West region. And they'll take on Oklahoma, the 8th seed, the 8-9 game. And should they win, their reward is drawing the number 1 overall seed in Gonzaga. But Mizzou is in as a 9 seed. There you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy, Trey Beal, and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. Online at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales, service after the sale with offices in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, and on the North Shore, it's Gulf Coast Office Products. Proud partner of LSU Athletics, the New Orleans Saints, and the New Orleans Pelicans. All right, let's have further review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. I do want to talk about the NCAA tournament and LSU's draw and what happened in the SEC tournament. We've been pretty heavy on the Drew Brees news, which I think we will be throughout the show today, and I'm happy to do. But I do want to get my thoughts in on LSU's appearance in Nashville and what's ahead. So we will get to that when we return. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Stick around on AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about Insurance Network of Louisiana because I love telling you ways to save money. And I was actually having this conversation with my brother on Friday when I was off. He and I went down to New Orleans, played a golf tournament. We're driving down there. And my brother's one of the smartest people I know, like literally. I mean, made like a 27 on the ACT in the 7th grade. Super smart guy, went to Notre Dame, all that stuff. And he had no idea about how insurance rates worked and things like that with Insurance Network of Louisiana. He was like me. When we grew up, our parents had State Farm. When we started driving on our own, went on our own, we just carried the same coverage, the same people we had forever. And I found Insurance Network of Louisiana, realized how it all worked. They saved me a bunch of money, $1,600 annually, and got me better covered. I told my brother about it. He called. Same thing happened for him. He's like, man, I had no idea. So until this process is explained, so many don't understand, you're probably overpaying and underinsured unless you've called. Insurance Network of Louisiana.
$29,995 for a new Ford F-150. Bayou Ford in LaPlace has brand new 2020 Ford F-150s for only $29,995. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Have you been issued a ticket for texting, speeding, or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 225-343-1111 or connect with us online at ocbrown.com.
Can you feel it? Spring is almost here, and if you got a new boat for Christmas or you just want to take your boat to a new level, you want front-to-back boat service, HD displays, live sonar that show the fish before you cast, trolling motors. At Front to Back, they got not one, but 2 NMEA certified techs for all of your marine electronic needs. How does a brand new speaker system sound? Well, guess what? They do that too. So call 225-928-9644 or go to Front to Back Boat Service.
Acura of Baton Rouge for attractive offers on the MDX.
50 years ago on Easter Sunday, Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo proudly opened our doors, and we've been hopping ever since. 5 decades of connecting people with animals, teaching our community about the problems facing wildlife and how we can help, and working with zoos across the world to protect endangered species. Today, our future is taking flight by stretching the possibilities of what your zoo can become, while we keep it fun and affordable for everyone. Thanks for coming along.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
At Cornell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA, you can get a Corolla with 0% financing or buy it for $19,158. That's 0% financing. So come on.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1. Glad you're hanging out with us here. Hope you had an awesome weekend. It was an amazing run for Will Wade and the Tigers in the SEC tournament. Nice win to hang on against Ole Miss after Jarkel Joyner kind of got off in that ball game from 3, had a hot streak, ultimately went cold, and LSU managed to win it by 3, move on to Saturday. And they punked Arkansas. There's no other way to say it. They're a team that played Arkansas 3 times, and in the 3 games against Arkansas, LSU was better for 5 of the 6 halves they played. The second half at Bud Walton Arena, where Arkansas got red hot and LSU couldn't keep pace, and LSU scored a bunch in the final couple minutes there to make it look better than it really was. LSU was better than Arkansas, and Arkansas's top 10 team. And it was really interesting to watch Trendon Watford in this tournament, to see how dominant he was in the first game, and then to have only 9.7 boards, kind of play his role in that game against Arkansas, where Cam Thomas scored 21 and Gaines had 10 off the bench. The big corner 3 was fantastic. But some good defense late in the ball game as well as Steele. It kind of sealed it. And then for Watford to go off like he did against Alabama. Everyone's going to focus on the final play, and rightfully so. I don't know that I could say anything different that anyone else hasn't already said. It's a team that has been awful at inbounding the basketball. If it's effort, if it's the inability to draw up a play or to execute what is drawn up, it's mind-boggling. It sucks. It's really frustrating to watch, but it's been what this team has been all year, and I don't know that at this point you change it. But Watford rushed that final shot. He had a tick under 5 seconds when he put up the 3. He could have passed or driven to the goal, maybe try to draw contact or do what he done all game, which is take the ball to the rim and finish. But 30 points for Watford in that game where you could tell he wanted it so badly against his home state school, and he almost got it. And almost like shades of NC State in 1983, the three-pointer fell short, and there was Andre Hyatt, ball right in his lap. And he had a tip in, and it just didn't fall. So it's massively disappointing that that shot didn't go in. Look, Watford had a couple of looks at free throws in the final minutes that he missed. Missed the front end of a 1-and-1, missed a chance for an and-one. I mean, those types of things could be the difference. But I think it's in our nature to look to the end and say, okay, what could have been different in the final minute or the final seconds? But really, it's a cumulative effect of things throughout the game. I very much believe in the butterfly effect. But Will Wade did talk about the final play. It's number 3, Brain. This is Will Wade on what happened there at the end of the game where Watford put up the shot and then the tip just didn't go.
Well, we weren't trying to catch it that far out on the final play. We're trying to catch it on the elbow. We had a hammer action to Cam and a little pin-in curl action for Smart with the pop for Days. So, and then it was really an ISO for Watford from there. So we didn't, we kind of got off base by throwing it too far out, but we couldn't end it up any better with the short three and 2 great looks.
It just didn't fall. Would have loved to have seen it because, as we know, LSU typically has not done well in that tournament. Wade's teams had not won a game in that tournament. And then LSU has only won it once in 1980. They hadn't been in the final since 1993. All things we've talked about, and at this point. But they were there with an opportunity to win it against one of the best teams in the country, a team that had housed them twice. And to see them playing better, as disappointing as it is that they didn't win, it's not the one you want anyway. The one you want is when you get into March Madness and you're in the big dance and you want to advance there. Nobody's going to remember what you did at the SEC tournament. They're going to remember how far you advanced in the big dance, and LSU has punched their ticket. Now, if you have listened to my show for any length of time, you probably know that I am not the guy to come to if you want to complain about your school or your favorite team getting screwed. I hate when fans complain about this group why does the selection committee hate my school? The refs are always against us. Like it's nauseating because you fail to exist outside of your own bubble. You can't see the forest through the trees. The odds are that the official doesn't give a hoot about your team or anything. They're just there calling a game how they see it on that given day. Maybe their wife yelled at them before they left home and they're in a bad mood. I don't know. But whatever things you put into your brain as fans that someone hates your team or is out to, look introspectively. Sometimes your team, they're just a bunch of knuckleheads and you screw up a lot. Whatever. So I knew when LSU landed as an 8 seed, was going to get a lot of this. The NCAA hates Will Wade. And this is one instance where I'm willing to hear the argument. It's worth noting that on Sunday, in his last bracketology, Joe Lunardi had LSU as an 8 seed going into the game against Alabama. So it's not like there was this, pervasive feeling that LSU was going to be a 6 or a 5. Jerry Palm, going into the SEC championship game, had LSU as a 5. Lunardi had him as an 8. Where they fell, it kind of makes sense to this point. LSU's net ranking is 28. The last of the 7 seeds would be 28th. So LSU is right on that line. Right on that line, 7-8. And they lost to Bama. I could see that they just fell to this. Okay, I could see it. I can see that and be like, man, that sucks. It makes sense. Until I look at Tennessee and Florida. Those are the ones that make me lose my poo-poo. Now, Tennessee has a net ranking of 13. But if you're only going based on net ranking, Florida's net is 31. 3 spots behind LSU. And yes, they have a head-to-head, but LSU was 18-9. Florida was 14-9. LSU won 4 more games than did Florida. And when you look at quad 1 records, LSU was 5-8. Florida was 5-5. They had the same number of quad 1 wins, and LSU played 3 more quad 1 games than did Florida. And LSU advanced to the SEC final with a win over Arkansas, a top 10 team. There is no justification for Florida being a 7 and LSU being an 8. And that's where I look at it and I go, yes, the NCAA and that selection committee is doing what they can to stick it to Will Wade. Because LSU, whether you like this or don't like it, LSU is the renegade program with the coach and the strong-ass offer and players that run their mouth the entire game. Personally, I like it. I like Edge. I think this LSU basketball team is caffeine-free diet 1980s Miami football. That's what they are. They run their mouth. They talk a lot of smack. They got a lot of talent. They win a lot of games. They're not going to win a national championship, but I think this is an opportunity for the powers that be to kind of jab you in the eye a little bit. And I absolutely think that's what happened, because if you were just looking at blind resumes, there is no justification for Florida being ahead of LSU. We'll continue next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. 18 locations in South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you at ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. Again, get to the website, find the location. Someone sent me a picture on Friday of a flat tire and said, Matt, I don't have it in front of me, but said, Matt, went to Shaw Bills, couldn't believe it. In and out in less than an hour, and they didn't even make me pay for the repair. This is not bogus. If your tire needs to be repaired, Shaw Bills will repair it for free. That's just what they've done forever, because when they opened their doors more than 50 years ago, Mr. Charlie just said this is the right thing to do. It's the right way to treat people. So they do. And they know that by treating you amazingly, you will come back year after year for tires and for all of your auto service. That's Shaw Bills. Find the location near you at ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, we keep you rolling.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA, you can get a Corolla with 0% financing or buy it for $19,158. That's 0% financing. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Have you been arrested for DUI or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 225-343-1111 or connect with us online at ocbrown.com.
Cool on that.
The moment you realize something is truly luxury is the moment you put it to use. Purchase or lease a new Infiniti QX80 online today with Infiniti Now.
Visit Infiniti of Baton Rouge at 13540 Airline Highway or online at InfinityBR.com.
Sports wouldn't be the same without the die-hard fans. That's why we're highlighting the fans that do the most. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge brings you the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week. Check it out at 1045ESPN.com, the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week.
Callahan Injury Lawyers.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Patriots, coming off a rare missed playoff season, spending some cash today. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports New England agreeing with former Ravens linebacker Mac Judon. 4 years, $56 million. Former Titans tight end Jonnu Smith, 4 years, $50 million. And former Eagles DB Jalen Mills, 4-year, $24 million. Smith is a definite upgrade for the Patriots when it comes to their pass catch game, notes ESPN's Dan Orlovsky.
I think Jonnu Smith is going to play a bunch of different roles for this offense. I do believe that this offense is going to look very different than anybody in the NFL. They're not going to play spread out, sideline to sideline football this year. They're going to play shrunk down football, pound it, and play really good defense, some additions and special teams, but Jonnu Smith will be a big part of their offense.
As Coach Bruce Arians vowed at the Buccaneers championship parade, Shaq Barrett's not going anywhere. Schefter reports the Bucs re-signing the star pass rusher, 4-year contract worth up to $72 million. He'll join Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mehenti tomorrow at 9 Eastern. Chiefs upgraded their O-line, agreed with former Patriots left guard Joe Thuney, 5 years, $80 million.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
The Brain.
And the Brain got a poop.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Played some golf on Friday, actually, and then again today, which is more rounds of golf than I've played probably in a calendar year. But was at the Stewart Hall Golf Tournament in New Orleans on Friday with my brother, and then today Doug Bickley and our friends over at GMFS invited me out to the Dreams Come True of Louisiana, a golf tournament at University Club. Really fun day, and I know we talk a lot about Dreams Come True of Louisiana here. It's one of the organizations that we collectively as a station have wrapped our arms around. We've hosted the Dreams Come True Radiothon for many years, and if you're not familiar, you should familiarize yourself. Miss Becky Prejean does an amazing job with that organization. They grant dreams for children with severe or terminal illnesses. So they do brilliant work, and it's beautiful to see so many of the dreams that they've granted over the years and what Miss Becky's able to make happen for these kids and their families. So if you're ever looking for an organization to partner with or a benefactor, consider Dreams Come True Louisiana. Just an awesome organization. It was great being out there earlier today. Great being with Doug Bickley and the GMFS guys as well. I played pretty well. We had one player on our team who was a dead ringer and bombed like 330 off the tee. So I don't think I hit a drive. Maybe I swung the club a couple times, my driver. Other than that, never came out the back. It's like, I'm just going to hang here. Good. Can I get a water? Watch you hit 330. I'll chip and putt. But other than that, 11 under. I made a few putts, but that's about the extent of it. All right. I hope you had an awesome weekend. Yes, I do think that the NCAA selection committee screwed LSU. I do. I think, and I'm not, I'm not that guy. Even the Nola no call. I don't think. I mean, it was a heinous call, but I don't think it's because Roger Goodell hates the Saints. I think the guy on the field he just kicked it. He just missed the call. Big moment. Decided to swallow the whistle. Didn't throw the flag. Gagged. Heinous, but he just missed it. That said, that didn't cost you the game. I mean, you had a chance. You had the ball in overtime. You turned it over. You had a chance. You had your chances anyway. But this is one of those where considering what's ahead of LSU, it is almost impossible to justify the 8 seed. It is almost impossible to justify Florida being a 7 with LSU being an 8. So, yeah, I do. I think because of the strong-ass offer or the damn strong offer, I think because of the defiant nature that Will Wade has carried himself, I absolutely think that this was an opportunity where the selection committee did not look at a blind resume. They looked at the name on top of the paper and said, about an 8. They look like an 8, yeah. I mean, I don't know that you'll ever get anybody associated with the selection committee to acknowledge that publicly, but I think it's what it is. Now, Will Wade did have a selection show press conference. Play number 3, please. He did talk about getting the 8 seed.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised. I thought we'd be a little bit better than that. But at the end of the day, we lost to St. Louis and we lost to Texas Tech in the non-conference. We didn't have a lot of meat on the bone in the non-conference because of COVID and just because of the way everything shook out. So we just didn't have the non-conference profile that we needed. I think we were the top 8 seed. We were right there to get a 7. And I've said this, the conference tournaments don't matter. That thing was done. Our seed was set on probably Friday night, and didn't move a lot from there. But look, we're in the deal. That's the number one thing, and we gotta get ready for Bonaventure.
And they will take on St. Bonaventure on Saturday. That's going to be a 12:45 game against the Bonnies. And actually, can you play 2, Brain? Here's Will Wade talking about that he's actually happy that they're playing on. They got the Saturday draw.
I do think a big point is just as much energy as we've expended the last 3 days to be able to play on Saturday is a big deal. I was worried about a Friday turnaround. Just we're not getting there till tomorrow. We'd had to sit in the hotel a couple of days. Probably wouldn't be able to practice till midday Wednesday, and then practice Thursday and play Friday would have been a little bit tougher. So I am pleased that we play on Saturday. Give us a little bit more time to recover.
Will Wade, again, meeting with the media, talking about the draw for LSU, what the week is going to be like. And he did talk a little bit about taking on St. Bonaventure in the opening round. The Bonnies they're the A-10 champ, and they are a really good basketball team.
Excited to be in the tournament. Our guys were excited. It's always good to see your name on the screen. We've got a huge challenge in front of us. I've actually watched St. Bonaventure play a couple times this year. They've got a top 40 offense, top 20 defense, or 17th in the country in defensive efficiency and defense. And they've got some good guard play. They got a great shot blocker, big 6'10" kid down there. They got a good small ball 4, good point guard, good shooting guard, Lofton. So they've got a very good team. Coach Schmidt, I'm familiar with them from the Atlantic 10. He's as good a ball coach as there is out there in the country. So it'll be a big challenge for us, but we're excited and looking forward to getting to Indianapolis tomorrow morning and getting ready to go.
The game will be at Assembly Hall in Bloomington, which is really actually kind of cool that LSU is going to get to play in that venue. They'll play against St. Bonaventure, which is 16-4. As we mentioned, LSU, not a lot of meat on the bone in the non-conference. Same can be said for St. Bonaventure. They did play St. Louis. That's the mutual opponent. And Bonaventure beat St. Louis, who beat LSU. Beat them by 11, 70-59. So LSU has a really challenging, and then beat St. Louis, by the way, in the tournament. But LSU has a big challenge against them with St. Bonaventure on Saturday in the big dance in Bloomington. It's after further review. If you want to join us, you can. 499-1045. Or toll-free 844-568-MATT, 844-568-6288. Spending the bulk of the day, the one sort of underlying theme throughout the day, if at any point you want to join us and you want to talk about Drew Brees, you're welcome to do that, as Brees announced finally on Sunday, formally, his retirement from the Saints and from the NFL. We all presume now that Drew Brees will go into the broadcast booth where he has a deal already in place with NBC. The assumption is that Drew Brees will be groomed to take Chris Collinsworth's place on Sunday Night Football. Now, that doesn't appear imminent, but you very likely then would have a combination of Mike Tirico and Drew Brees replacing Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth whenever that time comes. Stephen A. Smith, a lot of commentary about this. Stephen A. did talk about Drew Brees and what he expects him from the booth.
And I'm looking forward to seeing him in the booth as well. He's going to have a challenge in that regard because I think that Tony Romo has raised the bar with his charisma, not with his football acumen as well. But we know that Drew Brees has that. There's no question about that. But having that charisma in the booth for NBC, that'll be interesting to see.
We will likely get to see Drew Brees on the call for Notre Dame football alongside Mike Tirico. And then whenever we see some games where Michaels will take days off and Tirico will fill in there, especially this past year during COVID, Al Michaels, who's well into his 70s, now pushing 80, there was some travel that Michaels didn't do. And so we saw Tirico fill in on some of those Sunday night games for Al Michaels. That's the succession plan. So how Drew Brees, he'll do studio work first. So studio work, probably Notre Dame football, and spotting for NFL in the booth whenever Collinsworth isn't there. But that succession plan appears to be in place. Brees, we played a couple of cuts already from Drew Brees on the Today Show earlier today, his first interview since announcing his retirement. He did talk about what he'll miss most in his retirement.
There's so many things. I mean, the moments on the field after the game, I think those are the moments that my kids most look forward to. It's the game after the game. I think that's been one of the most special parts of this whole journey is watching our kids grow up through this and be able to, retain the information and come to the Saints facility. And, they would jump in the hot tub with me. They jump in the cold tub with me. They jump in the whirlpool. They run around the indoor facility. And then they just could not wait. They bring their footballs to the game, knowing that they would have an opportunity to go on the field after to play. So having them be a part of this and knowing that there's memories and hopefully moments of inspiration for them that will last a lifetime, that's what it's all about.
Somehow I think the Brees children are still going to be allowed on the field in the Tome if they ever want to go play a little ball. All right, it's after further review. You can join us. You can always tweet the show at Matt Moscona. You can jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat. Our JimsFirearms.net phone lines are open at 499-1045 or toll free 844-568. Matt, you can text us as well in the 225. It is 396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. That is my personal text line if you ever want to text me during the show or anytime. A lot of you do. Needless to say, the text line was pretty active yesterday when the 8 seed popped up on the line. So we will we'll get to a lot of your calls, texts, emails, tweets as we continue. Continue taking your recollections, memories, moments of Drew Brees. And when we come back, what a weekend out of the box for the LSU baseball Tigers. We'll rehash it all. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
If you're looking at dinner plans tonight, Ichiban, always a great option. Essen near Perkins. And, of course, from our friends at Ichiban, their newest concept I've been telling you about is Bo-Ru Ramen in Electric Depot on Government Street. If you have not yet tried Bo-Ru, this is an authentic Japanese dining experience. All of the noodles in their ramen, handmade. Other places, they get them shipped in giant industrial-sized bags from other processing plants not at Bo-Ru. You can actually watch them make the noodles right there in that glass case right by the kiosk where you place your order. The broth is a process that takes some 30 hours to complete. Again, this is an authentic Japanese dining experience, and culturally, it's amazing. If you want authentic Asian cocktails, they have top-shelf liquor and craft beer, indoor, outdoor dining options. It's Bo-Ru Ramen in Electric Depot on Government Street. Try something new. Try Bo-Ru.
$29,995 for a new Ford F-150. Bayou Ford in LaPlace has brand new 2020 Ford F-150s for only $29,995. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Pearl has the best oysters in Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Have you been issued a ticket for texting, speeding, or other traffic violations? Have you made a
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
I think that he was class personified. I mean, a lot of noise was made during the whole social justice issue movement about, what his opinions were and how they differed from that of his teammate Malcolm Jenkins and others. But the reality is that anybody that knows Drew Brees knows that he's been class personified. He's been a voice on behalf of the players for the NFL Players Association. He's just a class individual. He's a champion. He's an all-time great as a passer. There's no doubt about that.
Stephen A. on Drew Brees' legacy. I'll have some LSU baseball here in a second, but I did want to get to this point because I got a text into the text line from Cade Lonabos. He said, Matt, as a diehard member of the Who Dat Nation, talk a little bit about how criminal it is that Drew Brees never won an MVP. First of all, Cade, talk about is not a question. It's actually kind of rude. It's a command. I kid. But pet peeve. Not from you, Cade, but from other people in media who say talk about during press conferences. Anyway, kids, students, don't ever go into a press conference and say talk about. It's not a question. It's actually rude. It actually doesn't bother me that Drew Brees never won an MVP. It is a missing notch on the belt. It is a missing column on the resume, no doubt. But realistically, the only year where I think you would have made the really strong case was 2011. Not the only year. But the year where the team was good enough and he had the stats to coincide. And Aaron Rodgers won it that year. And in 2011, Green Bay was 15-1. They were coming off a Super Bowl. They followed up how great they were in the Super Bowl year and winning the Super Bowl, and followed up with a 15-1 season. And Rodgers that year threw for 4,600 yards and 45 touchdowns. He was awesome. Now, Drew Brees that year in 2011, the Saints were 13-3, and Brees was spectacular as well. He threw for 5,400 yards and 46 touchdowns. So Brees had one more touchdown than Rodgers and about 800 more passing yards. So I think you strongly could have made the case in 2011, and I actually did at the time think Brees was the rightful MVP that year, but they gave it to the quarterback of the team who was spectacular, but the quarterback of the team that went 15-1. So it was a battle between two quarterbacks who had won the last two Super Bowls, the previous two Super Bowl MVPs with Brees and then Rodgers, and ultimately Packers won 15-1, and Rodgers got more MVP vote. So that is something, though, that is subjective. Super Bowl titles, objective. Passing records, objective. It's quantifiable. I threw for more yards than you. I threw for more touchdowns than you. I had more completions. Those are quantifiable. It's numbers like MVP voting is subjective. I mean, I can't control what other sports writers around the country do with their MVP vote. Drew Brees can control what he does on the field. And that's why, while it's a bummer and would have loved to have seen Drew Brees win an MVP in his career, and certainly think that he is an MVP caliber player and very likely should have won an MVP at some point during his career. That's not the thing. That's not like the hole in my soul as a Saints fan, that Brees never got an MVP. The hole is he never got a second Super Bowl. And really, 2018 should have been the team. It should have been. 2018, it was there. You were 13-3. You were the 1 seed. You're at home in the Dome against the Rams. And the Nola no call happened. And you didn't recover from it. You lost in overtime. And had you gone on and won that game, yes, I think they were going to beat that New England team in the Super Bowl, because the Saints did what the Rams couldn't, which is they could have moved the football against that New England team. So anyway, that's the big regret that I have, is that the reason Brees, there's even conversation around Brees' greatness, his legacy, etc., is because he never got the second Super Bowl. All right, it's after further review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. If you want to talk Drew Brees, join us. We're spending a ton of time today talking about Brees, his legacy. If you want to call, JimsFirearms.net phone lines are open at 499-1045. Lines are actually clean right now. It's a good chance to get in if you want to. 499-1045 or toll free 844-568. Matt, 844-568-6288. Baseball Tigers got a sweep over the weekend. Unconventional. Tigers winners on Friday, and then Saturday, Marceau was dominant. They blew a lead, ended up going into the 13th inning. They needed home runs twice with 2 outs, facing down to their last out, and then ultimately Jordan Thompson, it's the walk-off in the 13th, and then they were winning on Sunday. UTSA puts up a 5 spot in the 9th to send it to extras. LSU has to rally again twice in extras to win the game, and ultimately they did with a walk-off from Gavin Dugas. So LSU with a sweep. I know the melt is about LSU's bullpen, which I do want to talk about here in a second. I would like to point out to you, though, that teams lose baseball games. Arkansas is ranked number 1 in the country, and they got shut out yesterday by Louisiana Tech. It happens. Teams lose baseball games. So I think you have to look in total and say, what are we learning about this team? Because as the season goes, it's going to look differently while you move through the season. Here's what I mean. And none of LSU's 3 starters, all of which, by the way, were dominant, none of them reached 100 pitches. Maneri and Dunn have still been cautious, rightfully so, by the way, because I'm not about overusing Jaden Hill or Landon Marceau or AJ Labus in March against UTSA. I want that dude as close to 100% as can possibly be for when Vanderbilt rolls in here and Hill and Kumar Rocker are dealing against each other. Fair? So Jaden Hill, Landon Marceau, AJ Labus, all 3 of them magnificent again. What we said about this team coming in was we knew your starting pitching was going to be awesome. Now, we also love the bullpen because of all the arms, and that's been a problem we'll talk about. The question was, could they hit? And they are answering that emphatically. But when you go out and you see a game from Jaden Hill where he goes 6 2/3, 6 strikeouts, couple walks, does not allow a run. And then Marceau follows it up, and he has just been absolutely lights out all year. And Marceau goes 6 innings on 87 pitches, 11 strikeouts, no runs. You know that next week when Mississippi State comes in, if Landon Marceau is at 87 pitches through 6, he's going out for the 7th. Right now, what Paul and Allen Dunn are trying to do is, let me see who I can count on. Who can I count on in these spots? What I know is, now that we're learning more about this bullpen, you're going to shorten your bullpen. It's kind of like with an NBA season. In an NBA season, you're going to play longer rotations because you got 82 games and you've got to make sure guys stay fresh. But when you get to the playoffs, you shorten your bench because you don't want to give the 8th or 9th guy on your bench 15 minutes. You're going to make your starters run more because it means more when you're in the playoffs. You find ways to get them rested as you can, but you shorten your bench in the playoffs. The same's going to happen to LSU's bullpen. I'll give you a hypothetical. If this Friday, LSU's beating Mississippi State 1-0 through 6, do you think Jaden Hill's coming out of the ballgame? No. They're not going to take Jaden Hill out to run out there, I don't know, Blake Money or Trent Vittmeyer. Jaden Hill's going back out for the 7th. What I think will happen is, you feel really good about Garrett Edwards, who's your closer now, by the way, Will Helmers, and you have to still count on Devin Fontenot because his stuff has been amazing. Yes, it's been a little erratic with location, but he's still 94, 95. His slider bites. His stuff is right. His location hasn't been, but when it's been on, he's been awesome. So you're still going to give him the baseball. And I think Mikael Hilliard can be that situational guy. You need someone to go throw a big bender and get the final out with runners on 2nd and 3rd, a base open. I think Mikael Hilliard could be that guy for you. Other than that, that's probably your bullpen. There's other guys you'll use situationally. If you got a 5-run lead, maybe you run Trent Vittmeyer out there because he's giving you a lot of innings over the year. You understand? But like if this Friday comes and Jaden Hill's is throwing a shutout through 6, he's going back out for the 7th. And then what they'll probably do is they'll give Devin Fontenot the ball for the 8th and have Edwards ready for the 9th. And if Fontenot wobbles, they run Edwards out there to see if he can get a 6-out save. That's probably what they'll do. They're not going to run 10 pitchers out there like they did on Saturday. It's a 13-inning game. You're trying to get through it and not kill your whole bullpen. I get it. But we're finding out who they really think they can count on. What we absolutely unequivocally know as well is that this team can rake. And I understand what everyone is saying right now, which is, look at who they've played. And that is fair. That is 100% fair. But you either, I'll say now what I said 2 weeks ago, what I'll continue to say, you either have home run power or you don't. And this team does. And the benefit of having a lineup 1 through 9 of guys that can go yard is that it doesn't matter if you're down to your last out and you're in the bottom third of your order because Jordan Thompson can go yard. I loved yesterday Zach Arnold batting 9th. That solves a little bit of a problem that you had with Milazzo batting 9th. He's going to bat 150 this year. Put Zach Arnold 9th. Great. You have a table setter for when you turn your lineup over. I love that when they went yard, 6 different guys yesterday hit homers. Everyone in your lineup is capable of going yard. You're not going to count on it from Trey Morgan. You're not really going to count on Milazzo to hit. But everybody else in that lineup, they can all go yard at any point. And that makes you super dangerous because you're never out of a game, as we saw the last 2 days. Now, are they going to hit 6 home runs in a game against Mississippi State on Friday? Probably not. But if they're down 3-1, could they get a bloop and a blast or a walk and a homer to tie the game? Absolutely they can. At any point in the lineup, which is seldom been the case for this program under Paul Maneri. It's just not what he's recruited to. But Nolan Cain recruited this team full of boppers where every single guy in that lineup is capable of going yard, and that makes you super dangerous because you are never out of it. That makes it so much more fun. So you're going into conference play feeling really good about your starting pitching and knowing that you can crush the baseball. Bullpen, Should you be worried? Hell yeah, you should be worried. That's a problem giving up a 5-run lead in the ninth to UTSA. But I also feel like they know the guys they can count on. And if you get into that situation, who's getting the ball? I feel pretty good about it. Conference play starts this week for LSU. They'll welcome in Mississippi State for a 3-game weekend series. Okay. It's after further review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Love telling you about the aesthetic medicine and anti-aging clinics of Louisiana. Blue Bond in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey and Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. Theantiagingclinics.com. Ideal protein diet. Help you lose weight. I'm down 20 pounds in 6 weeks. Weighed myself on Friday, 207. Started at 227. 6 weeks, down 20 pounds. It works. Ideal protein at the aesthetic medicine and anti-aging clinics of Louisiana. Hormone replacement therapy, body contouring, laser hair removal, beach pool season. It's right around the corner, y'all. The aesthetic medicine and anti-aging clinics of Louisiana can have you looking and feeling your best. Theantiagingclinics.com. Theantiagingclinics.com. Okay, it's after further review. Let me knock out a break. Tigers and the Pros in about 15 minutes from right now. When we come back, more reaction from local and national to Drew Brees' retirement. And I want to talk a little bit about what we learned with LSU basketball in the SEC tournament, as this is a team that appears to be ascending heading into the big dance. Stick around here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local. What a glorious day today was. I was out playing golf. The weather was fantastic. Overcast, cool, breezy, just perfect. It's the perfect weather to get out and just plant something. The time is now. Spring has sprung. You want to add that pop of color to your yard, your flower beds. It's a great chance to do it. You want to plant that vegetable garden? Clegg's has the vegetable plants and Johnny Naylor seeds, and the greenhouses are overflowing. You want your garden decor, like mats or garden flags or statues or other things to decorate your garden area? Clegg's Nursery has it all, and they're partnered with True Value Hardware Store. So if you're checking off your honeydews as well, get by any of the Clegg's Nursery locations. Support a great local company that's been in business for more than 60 years, because anything you'd get at a True Value Hardware Store, you can get at Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local, tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Can you feel it? Spring is almost here, and if you got a new boat for Christmas or you just want to take your boat to a new level, you want front-to-back boat service, HD displays, live sonar that show the fish before you cast, Trolling Motors. At Front to Back, they got not one, but 2 NMEA certified techs for all of your marine electronic needs. How does a brand new speaker system sound? Well, guess what? They do that too. So call 225-928-9644 or go to Front to Back Boat Service.
Failure happens to us all.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Great completions now for Drew Brees that ties his career high in a game. But I think he's searching for another mighty mark. Will he get it here? Yes! Touchdown pass, 5-4-0 in the 5-0-4.
When Drew Brees became the NFL's all-time passing touchdown leader, record now held by Tom Brady as that's changed hands. But, of course, Brees has held every significant passing record in the history of the National Football League, and a legacy very much cemented for Drew Brees. In fact, so much reaction to Brees' retirement is pouring in from around the NFL. Nate Burleson with the NFL Network now talked a little bit about his impression of Drew Brees and his 20-year NFL career.
His living legacy is that he will retire one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. I say the second best quarterback to ever play the game, an absolute living legend, a surefire Hall of Famer. When you look at what he was doing on the field and also his leadership, game in and game out, I've always said it. He was one of those quarterbacks I wanted to play for. And it wasn't just the accuracy. It wasn't just how he had nerves of steel inside the pocket. When I was standing on the opposite sideline and I would watch Drew Brees talk to his teammates, I would get goosebumps. I was the opposition. So I always knew that he had this certain energy to him that was infectious. And then you just look at the numbers. I mean, the numbers really speak for themselves. And, some will say towards the end of his career he was compiling. You know what? I would say no. Absolutely not. Because every single year over the last few, when he was breaking these records, they were competing, and they were one of the best teams in the business.
That was the case throughout his career. Nate Burleson of the NFL Network. Demario Davis, one of Drew Brees' teammates, took to Twitter, wrote, "Man, these past 3 years have gone by extremely fast, and honestly, I'm somewhat speechless. Firstly, congratulations on a Hall of Fame career. The time and energy you devoted to this game, you'll now get to invest into your family and all the other countless opportunities that await you." Hearing that from so many of his former teammates today. So, and since obviously the announcement came down on Sunday. But Drew Brees, his legacy intact. I'm curious to see what the New Orleans Saints will do. Clearly, his number 9 will be retired by the franchise. It'll never be worn again. He'll be in the Ring of Honor, and that should happen in the 2021 football season. I assume that it will happen in the 2020 football season. How they'll make that work based on whatever Drew Brees' work schedule will be, as we presume with NBC, will be interesting. But that'll be a fun day. If there's one really, really significant regret about all of it, it's that he just didn't have a proper on-field send-off. He didn't have that moment that so many get. I'll think about like when Derek Jeter retired with the Yankees. This is just one that came to mind. Jeter, we knew it was his final season, so we knew when his last game was, and the Yankees didn't make the postseason that year, and so we knew what Derek Jeter's last at-bat was going to be. And if you recall, he hit a walk-off single in his final career at-bat, his final career game, and it was a magnificent way to finish it. When Mariano Rivera retired, of course, remember Jeter and Pettit came out and lifted Rivera out of the game. It was just so many great players get that moment. They get their farewell, their final salute, and Drew Brees didn't. it was just a few thousand fans in the Superdome for the playoff game against Tampa Bay, and it didn't go the Saints' way, and Brees sort of ran off the field and kind of gave it another longing look back, a salute to his family up in their suite, and that was it. I wish that he had that moment on the field to be recognized one final time by the crowd, but that'll have to come while he's wearing very likely a suit and not a football uniform. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad you're hanging out with us here on a Monday edition of AFR. Still just a ton to get to and tons of your reaction. We're welcoming it here throughout the day. We, in the last hour, did talk about LSU's NCAA tournament draw. They'll get St. Bonaventure on Saturday, the A-10 champion, in an 8-9 game. And should they win, their reward will be Michigan, which we'll preview that more as the week goes on. We have all week to preview the weekend as it may play out for LSU in the NCAA tournament. But what we do know is that this is an LSU team right now that is absolutely peaking, that is playing their best basketball. That's what everybody says, right? Come tournament time, you want to be playing your best basketball. Well, what we knew about LSU, about this schedule, was we talked about it all year. Light early, meat grinder in the middle, light late where they'd have a chance to make a run. Now, they did add the Missouri game late, which we didn't anticipate, but LSU did go on their run where they beat Mississippi State and beat Tennessee and beat Auburn. They lost, unfortunately, to Georgia and Arkansas, but then came back and beat Vanderbilt, beat Missouri. So the Tigers had won 4 consecutive before the loss to Alabama and actually had won 7 of 9 before the loss to Alabama. So you're talking about a team that is playing its best basketball at the right time. And incidentally, what we probably also, well, I think we knew this. What this team probably learned is that when you buy in defensively, defense inevitably is going to lead to offense. And it did for this team. And to watch the game against Ole Miss in particular, when they went out against Ole Miss and held Ole Miss to 27 first-half points, that was maybe the best thing that could have happened to this team. Ole Miss ended up scoring 73 in that ball game, and a lot in part because Jarkel Joyner he was riding a heater, and everything he threw up from 3 was going in part of the second half. But great defense led to offense, and I think with this team, what you have is an offensive-minded team that doesn't always have great buy-in on the defensive end. And when things aren't going well offensively, they tend to let down defensively. But good offense for LSU does breed, in turn, good defense. I really like how Eric Gaines, what he added this weekend with his length and his ability to take the basketball away and intercept passing lanes. And that led LSU, I think, to be more efficient defensively. And that's what was really different for them against Alabama. Listen, Will Wade, even after the game yesterday, talked about how and why the game on Sunday was different from the 2 previous meetings where Bama housed LSU, where it wasn't really even competitive.
We were more solid defensively. We executed better on offense. It's the first time we've played them. We've been able to move the ball and score a little bit against them. Their defense is elite. Everybody talks about their offense, but their defense is what's elite. And I thought we were able to execute better and make some shots against them.
Now, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself with previewing the game against St. Bonaventure, but the big picture that we know about LSU and what they need to improve, Will Wade did talk about that in the postgame against Alabama, what they still need to improve on going into the NCAA tournament. It's number 4, please.
I've made no bones about the rebounding. I mean, we gave up. I think Juwan Gary had 7 offensive rebounds himself, 7 or 8 offensive rebounds, and the extra chances they got from the glass just did us in, and that's what's going to be very, very tough for us in the NCAA tournament. Is we've got to rebound. We've got to be able to finish play.
Alabama had 19 offensive rebounds in the game against LSU. They out-rebounded LSU by 4 in total. And Will Wade made it abundantly clear when he was yelling at Michael Cobble last week that the one thing he wants to see out of his team is rebounding, and he's 100% right. If LSU doesn't rebound and continues to allow... as much as we've complained about this team defensively all year, something that Will Wade has said, which he's right about. It sounds like lip service from a coach, but he's actually right if you're thinking about this as you watch the game. LSU's first shot defense has actually been very good. They do force errant shots. They do force shots late in a shot clock. They do force some bad looks. They do force contested shots. But damn it, they allow so many offensive rebounds. They're one of the worst in the country at opponents' offensive rebounds. And when you allow second and third chances, it's as if the first miss doesn't even matter because you're getting an even better look right by the goal. So I don't know how you fix it. I don't. I don't know that you can fix it this late in the year. You don't have a guy that is an enforcer whose only job is to go in there, crash the glass, destroy people, and pull down rebounds. I wish they had that guy. I wish this team had a Cavell Bigby Williams who could affect shots defensively, be a rim protector and a rebounder, but they don't. If there's one thing this team is missing, it's that. They have guys that can run, they have length, they have size, they have guys that can score in transition, that can get to the goal and finish, and you've seen Javonte, and you've seen guys like Cam Thomas step back and get really hot stroking threes. Darius Day's same. What they don't have is that guy that is a rim protector and a rebounder, and you can't go pick one up. So you're going to run into a team where that becomes a problem, and ultimately that's how this season is going to end. My hope, though, is that it's after a deep run in the NCAA tournament. We got to do Tigers and the Pros coming up here to wrap up hour number 2. We will talk to Anthony Ranaudo in his usual spot at 5 o'clock, so in about 15 minutes from right now, we'll talk to the big guy about some LSU baseball, and we will continue getting all of your reaction to Drew Brees' retirement as people are sharing stories and memories of the greatest player to ever play for New Orleans, and certainly the most influential athlete this state has ever seen. Glad to have you hanging out with us here on a Monday edition of AFR. Stick around.
AFR.
The NCAA tournament just about to get underway. You're going to fill out your bracket. You're going to be taking off of work. I don't blame you, but where do you go to watch every single NCAA tournament game? Well, they're all happening at once. Like, do you really want to set up your TV and an iPad and a phone and wheel in this TV? No. Don't fool with all that. Just go to Pluckers. Either location, Nicholson just south of campus, or Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana, where they got more than 60 50-inch flat screens. Are you kidding me? Just pick a spot in Pluckers, and you have dozens of TVs in your sight line. So you can watch every single game while eating award-winning jumbo chicken wings and drinking ice-cold draft beer, or whatever it is you prefer from their full-service bar. That's at Pluckers, Nicholson, or Bluebonnet. Remember, not just March Madness, but every LSU baseball game all season long, you can watch at Pluckers. Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine in, carry out. Pluckers. You don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA, you can get a Corolla with 0% financing or buy it for $19,158. That's 0% financing. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
50 years ago on Easter Sunday, Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo proudly opened our doors, and we've been hopping ever since. 5 decades of connecting people with animals, teaching our community about the problems facing wildlife and how we can help, and working with zoos across the world to protect endangered species. Today, our future is taking flight by stretching the possibilities of what your zoo can become, while we keep it fun and affordable for everyone. Thanks for coming along.
Have you been arrested for DUI or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 225-343-1111 or connect with us online at ocbrown.com.
$29,995 for a new Ford F-150. Bayou Ford in LaPlace has brand new 2020 Ford F-150s for only $29,995. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us
every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7, The Tiger.
Cool on that.
The moment you realize something is truly luxury is the moment you put it to use. Purchase or lease a new Infiniti QX80 online today with Infiniti Now.
Visit Infiniti of Baton Rouge at 13540 Airline Highway or online at InfinityBR.com.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. Anthony Ranaudo, former Tiger All-American. He'll be with us in about 10 minutes from right now. Recap the weekend series and look ahead to the opening weekend of SEC play. A bullpen was not super hot. Should we be worried? I do want to ask him about my idea. Just that Maneri's going to shorten the bullpen. He's just not going to use 10 guys. He's going to use Helmers and Fontenot and Edwards and probably Hilliard for as a situational reliever. And those are going to be guys they count on. And if there's a scenario where you have a bigger lead or a bigger deficit, you can rely on sort of the next tier. But in tight spots, I think we just know who they're going to lean on. It's not going to be Aaron George in the ninth. So we'll talk about that with Anthony Ranaudo coming up here in about 10 minutes from right now. Right now, though, Brain has Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Kentucky's Best Hemp. Find them online at kysbesthemp.com.
Starting off in the NFL today, specifically New England.
Hey!
Jalen Mills is now a Patriot. The former Tiger safety has agreed to a 4-year, $24 million deal with $9 million guaranteed.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's a good deal for him, man. Been in Philly his whole career. He, Philly drafted him, or was he an undrafted free agent? I can't remember. He had some off-the-field stuff when he left LSU, if you remember. And, I remember he's drafted, but been a good run for the Green Goblin there. Do you think he has to change his nickname?
To what, though?
I don't know.
The Blue and Red Goblin?
The Blue and Red Goblin? The Blue Goblin?
Boston Goblin?
Yeah, I got nothing.
All right. Jalen's not the only former Tiger relocating to the Boston area.
Oh.
Devon Gottschall is now a Patriot as well.
Ooh, how about that?
Gottschall's agreed to a 2-year deal worth up to $16 million. It also includes $9 million fully guaranteed.
Good for you. Look at your money.
Gottschall and Mills have the same agent, so that's always convenient.
That is convenient. Helps to make that. But Belichick loves the LSU guys, man.
I was asking Paul before the show. Are we going back to LSU North again?
He's always loved the LSU guys, man. It's kind of like Sean Payton's infatuation with Ohio State. I mean, it's undeniable. I mean, sometimes you just like the style of athlete that certain schools produce. There's been a pipeline there to New England.
Ben Simmons has had an all-star break in a COVID quarantine to work on his three-point game.
And?
So much so that he decided Sunday night was not the time to reveal it.
I did see him actually kick an assist for a 3 in that game last night.
That doesn't count for anything. Oh, it counts for an assist.
And 3 points.
Well, yeah. 14 points for Simmons.
But with respect to this conversation about Ben Simmons attempting three-pointers, you're right. It does not account for anything.
14 points for Simmons, 9 assists.
9 assists.
4 rebounds and a steal in 26 minutes of play. 6 points in 19 minutes of play for Naz Reid last night.
And I was so pumped about it, too, because I had Minnesota plus the 5, and they won outright. Scone Cold Locks are coming back, riding a heater brain.
Okay.
They took a lot. It took a little bit. I took a little bit of a cool streak, some time off, but I'm telling you, 5-1 the last 2 days. I am in fuego again. I am feeling it, brain. Feel like I am back on target.
For you to be putting money back on Minnesota again?
Yes.
To put your foot back in that pool?
Got it.
Okay.
I got it.
All right.
I know where I was offline. I'm back. I'm back, baby. Biff Tannen is back, brother. Let's cash some tickets.
Skylar Mays got 3 minutes of playing time for Atlanta last night. No points, but did grab 2 boards. And in Major League Baseball, Todd Peterson got himself a third of an inning.
I'm so excited about that. Oh, God,
He threw 6 pitches and got Paul DeJong to ground out into a fielder's choice, getting the Nats out of a jam.
Got him.
And that's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by
KYSBestHemp.com. KYSBestHemp.com.
I had to press something on the screen so I couldn't clap. Sorry. Promo code AFR30. Promo code AFR30 to save 30% off at KYSBestHemp.com. Anthony Ranaudo. Talking baseball next.
AFR.
I got to, on Friday, swing in and see Joel and the gang over at Michelli Weighing and Measurement in Harahan. Awesome people. Been telling you about them. Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Been around since 1947. 6 offices in Louisiana. They have got 29 offices in 11 different states. So even if you're outside of Louisiana, Michelli.com, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. They are ISO 17025 accredited, and they have so many different services that they offer. If you need something weighed or measured, go to the website, Michelli.com. You'll see the services tab. Like hit calibration, for example, and you can see everything that they do, all of the things that they calibrate, like mass, torque, scale, force. If it's things like pressure gauges or torque wrenches, so much more. They have customers often that'll say, oh, you do that? Michelli.com to learn more. Michelli.com. Michelli Weighing and Measurement online. Again, learn more at Michelli.com.
the best oysters in Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast office products.
$29,995 for a new Ford F-150. Bayou Ford in Laplace has brand new 2020 Ford F-150s for only $29,995. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and with
Callahan Injury Lawyers.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news. UConn announced women's basketball coach Gino Auriemma has tested positive for COVID-19. He's isolating at home, isn't experiencing any symptoms, can rejoin the team March 24th. The Huskies in line for a 1 seed when the women's NCAA tournament field's announced in 1 hour, ESPN TV. The Patriots, big spenders in free agency, as anticipated, today agreed with pass rusher Matt Judon, 4 years, $56 million, DB Jalen Mills, 4 years, $24 million, and tight end Jonnu Smith, 4 years, $50 million. This according to our Adam Schefter. New England, though, still with a big uncertainty at a key position, notes ESPN's Diana Rossini.
Who is the quarterback? We know they signed Cam Newton, but is that really going to be the guy they go to as the starter? And obviously they got all the pieces around, but I think that's going to be the big question mark as we get to the draft.
Schefter also reports the Buccaneers and star pass rusher Shaq Barrett agreed to a 4-year deal worth up to $72 million. He joins Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin tomorrow at 9 Eastern. Chiefs agreed with former Patriots left guard Joe Thuney, 5 years, $80 million, upgrading their offensive line.
We're back on Tuesday, continuing to get closer to the NFL's free agency. And the wide receiver group isn't loaded, but who's the best? We'll rank them. Tuesday morning on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin on ESPN Radio.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
The Brain.
Hey, the brain got a poop.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock, quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Nothing really to talk about on this Monday, right? Just the retirement of the greatest, most influential athlete we've ever seen in Louisiana. LSU punches their ticket to the big dance and gets hosed by the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee. And LSU comes off one of the most dramatic 3-game sweeps you will ever see, where on back-to-back days, they blew a lead in the 9th, went into extras, were down to their final out multiple times, homered to tie it, and ended up winning both games. Other than that, how was your weekend? Anthony Ranaudo, former Tiger, great, is good enough to join us as he does every Monday here. How are you, dude?
I'm great, man. I'm great. How are you guys doing? This is a great Monday. You just listed off all the things, so I'm excited. I'm excited to dive in.
Hey, man, I want to start. We always talk pitching. Let me start, though, with the offense. LSU's leading the SEC in home runs right now. They've got 37 homers already. The best comp is that 09 team because that was the last team to hit 100 home runs in a season. The most recent one to even come close is 2017, which I think hit 69. So we haven't seen this type of power output. Do you see similarities with this offense and that offense that won the championship in 09?
You know, I'm pumped that you asked me that question because I do, and I think you saw it even with Coach Maneri's, some of the quotes from after the games when you listen to his interviews. And I think the similarity for me, I think it's early to tell about the power. Obviously, it's so impressive early on. But for me, it was like, and you saw it this weekend, it was a perfect example, was whenever we were down, there was never a panic in the dugout. Like, I swear we always felt like it was just like looking around, like, whose turn is it to bat right now? Okay, they're going to be the hero today. And I kind of feel like that's what this team is like again right now, right? It's, all right, they're down 5 going into the 9th. Let's see who's going to be the guy. Who's going to have the big hit? When's it going to happen this inning? And that's kind of like the similarity and the parallels that I see between this team and our team in 09.
I said 37. It's LSU put the graphic. It's 33 homers that they have right now, which is just bonkers that you've got guys like K. Doty with 7 already. I mean, Anthony, it's a year ago. We're thinking anybody that gets to double digits, that's a massive thing. They haven't even started conference play. Doty's at 7, Cruz is at 6, Thompson's at 5. I mean, it's amazing. Now, whenever you start seeing SEC pitching, what's a realistic expectation of how or if these power numbers can persist?
I think just time will tell, but I kind of want to just back up and speak a little bit on Cade Doty because I remember when Terrio used to work with him at Traction and just watching that kid when he was in high school work with Terrio and, like, the swings and the sound off of his bat. So, like, I'm going to get back to the question of the SEC pitching. I think for him it's just a matter of time, and it's just I think he's that good and that great, like he's that good of a hitter because – like I said, I was doing pitching lessons in Traction, and I'm seeing this swing out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, it's just something different, right? And I think it's kind of the same thing that I talked about with Dylan Cruz is they just stand out differently in fall practice, right? These are guys that you just are like, oh, those mannerisms are a little different. And when you watch the game enough, and same thing with, I think, Trey Morgan too, I think you just see these guys, they have these mannerisms, and you're, like, excited to watch it play out. And now you get to see the real competitor come out in SEC play. Now we've warmed up, we've knocked off the rust from last year, and now we get to go see, like, the real competitor and see it against the top-notch pitching. And I think you're going to see, like, Cade and guys like Dylan Cruz, like, this is not a fluke. These guys are legit, and it's going to be, it's just a matter of showing up at the right time, the right place on the biggest stage.
K. Doty, by the way, today named SEC Player of the Week by the Southeastern Conference office, and Jordan Thompson named Co-Freshman of the Week. So tons of honors for this team as they continue. Now, you and I do always talk pitching, and there was good and bad this weekend. The good is that the starting pitching has been dominant. The bad is that the bullpen was, quite honestly, just bad. So let's start with the good, with Hill, Marceau, and Labus. Let's start with Jaden because you know him well. It's been a hell of a bounce back since the rough outing a few weeks ago. What is working so well for him right now?
I think we're just seeing a guy that's coming into his own, a guy who knows who he is. Like, I think we were talking weeks ago, and I was like, I'm excited to see this guy pitch into the 5th, 6th, 7th inning, 8th inning, and give his team a chance to win. So I think we're seeing this guy come into his own now and actually mix his pitches. I thought this was one of the most impressive things and just speaks elements to who Jaden Hill is. I actually didn't even personally talk with him this week after this, which, I think speaks measure just to who he is. He didn't need to reach out. We didn't talk that much. And he's just where he needs to be. And I don't feel like I need to reach out to him because watching that game, I watched a young man turn into a mature prospect that I think, is going to be pitching in the major leagues 2 or 3 years from now. And that's exactly what he proved to be. You see guys that crumble and don't bounce back, from those types of outings. And a guy who's a true Friday night starter needed to bounce back, and that's exactly what he did. He set the tone for this weekend, and I think he's just the leader of that elite, starting pitching group. And it's just exciting to watch him, like, turn into that guy. But and then when you got Marceau going Saturday and Labus followed up Sunday, it's like it's almost unfair. You're just beating up on some teams.
So at this point in the season, none of the pitchers has extended too deep into a ball game. Hill threw 96 pitches on Friday, and that's the most we've seen from a starter so far. But Marceau and Labus each, I think Marceau was at 87 pitches. I forget offhand where Labus was. But at this point, Anthony, and you obviously know Maneri and Alan Dunn a little bit, how are all of the handcuffs off where it's basically just go as deep as you can at this point now that you've started SEC play?
I think with Marceau and AJ, and again, I haven't talked to Coach Maneri or Coach Dunn at all, so again, this is just my speculation, but I think Jaden's going to be a little different than Marceau and AJ. I think Marceau is going to be, I think you're going to start seeing him pitch 100 pitches and go 7-8 pretty consistently now, especially in SEC. I think, Coach Maneri probably kept the reins on a little bit early on in the season, just with no season last year and trying to keep the innings, to at least the least that he could going into SEC. But I think you're going to see those two leaders kind of take into their role of being those workhorses a little bit. And I think Jaden's going to be strategically used. I think if he gets into any, high stress situations, I think you might see Coach Maneri pull him out a little early and protect him a little bit and hoping that, this team is who we think they are and that he's going to be pitching, in June and that kind of stuff. So I think I'll be anxious to see how they go, but I think that's my prediction. But again, I don't know. I haven't talked to Coach Maneri, and that's just pure speculation.
So what do they do with the bullpen?
Oh man, I don't know, man. I think these first couple of weeks in SEC before the games really start mattering. I think you got to start putting guys in different roles, kind of like what you saw with Coach Maneri do this weekend. If Devin's going to struggle right now, we got to try other young guys that are coming out throwing well. We got Blake Money throwing the ball well. You got other guys coming out the pen in certain strategic situations. And I don't know how to say it. Is it Milas is how you say his last name?
Let's go. Let's go with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or just go with Theo.
Theo, that's it. I saw Coach Maneri call him Theo a lot too, and I actually like that name. I'm going with Theo. It's kind of like a superhero name. I'm with it. So we're rolling with it. But yeah, Theo, like you're seeing those guys go into important roles and seeing how they perform, right? So I think early on in the SEC, you got to throw those guys into that role. If Devin's not going to take, ownership of the closer or whatever the extended reliever role that we hoped he was going to be, if he's going to struggle, we'll figure out the roles. But I think Devin is a veteran, like I said last week, and he'll figure out his role and where he needs to go, and he'll find his stuff. Because like I said, the stuff is there. He's throwing 93, 95 this weekend. It's just a matter of he's yanking some balls. He's letting some air mail. He's not consistent with his breaking ball. So I think, putting guys in competitive situations and seeing how they respond, and then letting the veterans figure out their roles and be leaders in the back end of the bullpen will kind of tell that story as we go through SEC.
A couple more minutes here with Anthony Ranaudo, former Tiger great. Of course, you can find out his stuff F45 and Cards and Culture on Instagram, cardsandculture.com. So my sort of idea, Anthony, is I think what we're going to see, you let the starters extend, and they're going to shrink the bullpen in key situations to Edwards, Helmers, and probably Devin Fontenot as well. Is it realistic to think that Maneri and Dunn can execute that, where you just shrink the bullpen to 3, or maybe Mikhail Hilliard as a situational reliever as well, to guys that you really count on?
That's what I was just going to say. And I think you got to put Mikhail in that mix. I know he's, had hit and miss, and his ERA is a little high, but you see he's throwing strikes. He's not walking guys, so he's a reliable source. And I think it is an option. And I think with guys like Marceau and AJ, and that's why I say I think you're going to start seeing them pitch 6, 7, 8 innings, because Coach Maneri's not going to let that happen in the SEC play. He's going to go with the sure hand. And if Marceau's filling up the strike zone and he's at 90 pitches going into the 8th inning, I think you're going to see that veteran guy go back out there for the 8th inning, and that's going to shrink the bullpen. You're going to have less opportunities to have those guys be in those positions, and it is going to be more, hey, when you have this opportunity, you got to prove who you are and take advantage of the role that you're in. So I absolutely think that it's a possibility. He's done it before, and with the veteran, and even with the way the starters have gone this year, it's an absolute possibility.
At this point, starting SEC play, do you think this team is what you thought they were, better or worse than what you thought at this point coming into the season?
I'm going to say better, and I'm a little bit more optimistic. I'm positive, but I didn't know that the hitters were going to be this good. And I know it's early, and we haven't faced SEC pitching yet, but pure power numbers don't really lie like they are, and their slugging percentage numbers, and those kinds of things. I think we're getting what we thought out of the starting pitching, which is, we had high expectations for. And I'm actually not as disappointed with the relievers. I know they haven't performed in strategic situations and specific situations, but I think the stuff that I'm seeing from our relievers is really encouraging to me as a pitching guy, right? And I think, like I said, that's just more like, okay, we need to figure out which guys settle in which roles. And I think the back end of the bullpen actually might be, like a plus for us at the end of the year if some of these guys, these younger guys, can really come into their own and figure out their stuff.
Anthony Ranaudo, former Tiger, great. Good enough to be with us every Monday here, recapping the weekend series that was Cards and Culture. Check it out on Instagram, cardsandculture.com as well. Dude, I just saw this. You got a beardless James Harden card. Is that really worth $9,100 right now?
Dude, I can't even tell you how crazy it is. About 6 months ago, I was thinking about buying one, and I was like, dude, I can't believe it's under $1,000. And now, yes, they are selling for crazy amounts. And I just figured it was a matter of time that it was going to happen, but I didn't know it was going to be this drastic. So I feel a little depressed about it.
Can people buy? All right, so Cards and Culture. Can people buy these things from you online, or what do they do?
Yeah, so that one last night was more of a news content piece where we were just talking about the market a little bit more. So James Harden specifically isn't on our site, but we probably carry anywhere from 20 to 50 cards at a given time. And I try to pick things that are kind of trending, that are on topic. So for example, right now there's a really highly sought after Serena Williams card on our site. It's kind of pricey, but that'll be on there and hopefully we'll move it quick, but then we'll pick up something else that's kind of trending and, with the market. So some of the content isn't necessarily always what's on our site, but it's kind of spreading news and educating our market. But a lot of it is, available on cardsandculture.com.
Alternate investments, it's a very real thing right now. Anthony does a great job with it. Cardsandculture.com, cardsandculture.com. And he's going to talk baseball with us here every Monday. Thanks as always, man. We appreciate you.
No, you're the man. Thanks for having me.
All right, buddy. We'll see you. It is After Further Review, brought to you by Relief Windows. Let me knock out a quick break. When we come back, we'll delve back into LSU basketball a little bit, and, of course, the biggest story of the weekend. It was expected and anticipated, but it has now happened. Drew Brees announced his retirement from the NFL. Talk about that and what the Saints do moving forward. Glad you're here on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Baton Rouge General Hospital, brgeneral.org. brgeneral.org is where you can find out more about the Baton Rouge General, all of their different locations, everything that they offer, including COVID-19 vaccinations, which are available, and you can reserve your shot there at brgeneral.org. But at Baton Rouge General, of course, they also were reminding you that March is National Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, and colon cancer being the second leading cause of cancer death among men and women in the United States. 1 in 20 people will be diagnosed with colon cancer in their lifetime, and 60% of colorectal cancer deaths could have been prevented with a screening. So the Baton Rouge General Hospital is encouraging you to get your screening. brgeneral.org to learn more. brgeneral.org. If you're turning 50, maybe you're over 50 and you have not had your colonoscopy, get it done. brgeneral.org. Again, brgeneral.org.
$29,995 for a new Ford F-150. Bayou Ford in LaPlace has brand new 2020 Ford F-150s for only $29,995. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1,000,000-mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Can you feel it? Spring is almost here, and if you got a new boat for Christmas or you just want to take your boat to a new level, you want front-to-back boat service, HD displays, live sonar that show the fish before you cast, trolling motors. At Front to Back, they got not one, but 2 NMEA certified techs for all of your marine electronic needs. How does a brand new speaker system sound? Well, guess what? They do that too. So call 225-928-9644 or go to Front to Back Boat Service.
At Corvette Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA, you can get a Corolla with 0% financing or buy it for $19,000.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
More
love you guys so much. Hey, you're going to accomplish anything in life you're willing to work for, right? I love you, boys. I love you.
One of the really cool moments when Drew Brees set the career passing record, went over to his sons and had that moment there. We're told him you could be anything you want to be. So Drew Brees, who came into the NFL, an undersized quarterback, and leaves as one of the greatest Giants that the history has ever produced, that the league has ever produced. Congrats on an amazing Hall of Fame career for Drew Brees. 20 years, 15 of them in New Orleans. If you missed as we opened the show today, I did, and I wasn't intending to just wax poetic. I didn't write anything down. I just wanted to kind of speak my personal impressions of Drew Brees and my thoughts. And ultimately what it boils down to is that Brees came in and did something that is darn near impossible to do in sports or business or life. That's changed culture. But he was able to do that by taking a franchise that for 40 years were losers and turn them into a franchise that we all believe can win and should win every time they go out. It's a remarkable turnaround, which Drew Brees has engineered for the last 15 years. And yes, with Sean Payton, and yes, with Mickey Loomis and the front office, and there were a lot of pieces to it, but without number 9, you don't have the engine that made that car go. So what's next for the New Orleans Saints is certainly going to be, is certainly what makes this the most fascinating offseason, certainly in the last 15 years of this franchise, but arguably in the history of the franchise, with the only season that even remotely rivals it being the 2006 offseason. Because, of course, the Saints were coming off the Katrina vagabond year. You didn't even know if the franchise was staying in New Orleans, if it were possible that the Dome be rebuilt. There were so many uncertainties. And then you get Drew Brees and Reggie Bush, and we all know what's happened here over the last 15 years. But this offseason is critical because not only are you replacing Drew Brees, but you're replacing the guy who was the heartbeat of your franchise, the greatest player and leader that you've ever had. And you have so many great pieces still in place around whoever the next quarterback will be. You're going to have Alvin Kamara and Ryan Ramczyk and Teron Armstead and Michael Thomas and Marshawn Lattimore and Demario Davis and very likely Marcus Williams, who's franchise tagged. I mean, you understand this is still a very talented roster. And we saw Teddy Bridgewater go 5-0. And we saw Taysom Hill, that combo this last year, go 3-1 with Drew Brees out. So we've seen them have success without Drew Brees, but is that something that is going to be sustainable both for an entire season and in the long haul? Will the Saints invest in a high draft pick and draft who they think will be Drew Brees' successor? Or do they go into free agency, or do they think Jameis Winston is the guy? What seems pretty clear is that they are committed to re-signing Jameis Winston sans a better option. And it feels like that better option would be Russell Wilson. And every time I bring that up, there is a portion of this audience that hems and haws. I know because I see it on my text line. I see it in the chat. And I see it. I see it. Twitter. But every single conversation that I've had with people who cover this team and the Seahawks intimately, who know about those processes, are pretty much convinced that there is going to be a break between Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. We know Russ has a no trade clause. He's approved 4 teams that he would accept the trade to, and one of them is the Dallas Cowboys, who just re-signed Dak Prescott, which means it's the Saints, Bears, or Raiders. That's it. So until that deal, any potential deal, is completely dead, I'm going to continue mentioning that as a possibility. But sans a better deal, which would be Russell Wilson, it's very likely going to be Jameis Winston. Now, a lot of people over this offseason, or over this weekend, have melted about the Taysom Hill contract that the Saints agreed to. And they saw that Taysom Hill got a 4-year, $140 million contract. if you just think about that, giving Taysom Hill $35 million a year is stupid. You basically gave Taysom Hill what Jerry Jones is giving Dak Prescott. It's not real. It's just another tactic that the Saints are using to clear cap space. Now, what is so massively impressive with what the Saints have done is, as it stands today at this moment, according to Spotrac, or Spotrac, however you say it, Spotrac. I've always said Spotrac, but whatever. The Saints are only $3.1 million over the cap. Remember, about a week and a half ago, they were roughly $100 million over the cap. They have done some amazing salary cap gymnastics, as they have to do every year, and they're not done, because as we know the Saints are apt to do, is whenever free agency begins, they will spend on whoever their big ticket item is, and they will make that happen again. It will be interesting to see who that big ticket item is. But specifically with Taysom Hill, what they did is they restructured his deal and were able to save roughly $7.5 million. I don't need to get into the minutia of it, but Taysom Hill's contract has added 4 voidable years to the back. I mean, they could have made that 140. They could have made it $1 bajillion if they wanted to. Taysom Hill's none of it is guaranteed. He's not going to get any of that money. He's under contract this year and then does have a $7.5 million dead cap hit next year if he's not on the roster. But his cap hit would be the same as his dead cap number. So basically, Taysom Hill would be on the roster in 2022 at $7.7 million, which is a very manageable number. And even if it's not, you could cut him and eat that $7 million and move on somewhere else. But the bottom line is the 2023, 24, 25 numbers are zero, basically, because it's all the money, it's all voidable. So no, the Saints did not commit $140 million to Taysom Hill. They just did some more salary cap magic to get closer to cap compliance, which they have to be by the end of this week whenever free agency begins. So I'll continue saying what I've always said, which is I'm very interested in the possibility of Jameis Winston being the guy. I think athletically, physically, at 26 years old, he is 100% a guy that can be a franchise quarterback. Again, physically, athletically. I also love that in the face of adversity, he humbled himself. He got himself in great shape. He had LASIK. He was a great team guy this year. And the fact that the Saints put eyes on him within their organization for an entire year and now they're willing to re-sign him tells you that they believe in him. They were impressed by what he did. Sans a better option. Again, because there is still that lingering doubt that I think you're going to have, but I'll remind you that there was lingering doubt about Drew Brees because of certainly his shoulder and the fact that the Chargers moved on from him. They picked Phillip Rivers, and Brees resurrected or basically rebirthed his career in New Orleans and birthed a Hall of Fame career. I don't know that that's something that's possible or that's probable with Jameis, but do I think it's possible? Yes, because we saw it once with Drew Brees already with this head coach, and this is a more athletically gifted player in Jameis Winston and a player that has a better team around him now than Drew Brees did in 2006. So I would be very interested to see what it would look like with Jameis Winston. But what is undeniable is that all of our expectations, every single person listening to me right now, your expectation of what the New Orleans Saints will be in 2021, no matter who the quarterback is, if it's Jameis or Taysom or whoever, your expectation of what that team will be in 2021 is vastly higher than what we thought they would be in 2006 when Drew Brees played his first game for the New Orleans Saints. And that's because over 15 years, that man changed the culture here. And my sincere hope is that he changed it forever. Because I want to go back to wearing bags, bro. I don't want to go back to expecting them to lose every time they play. It's too much fun watching this team win, and here's hoping that they'll continue doing just that. All right, it's after further review. We knock out a break. If you want to join us, we got another segment. I got open lines as well. Let me check. Yeah, we do have open lines. All right, 499-1045 if you want to join us. If you want to talk Drew Brees, if you want to talk his legacy, if you want to talk your favorite moment with him, if you want to share a personal anecdote about anything to do. A lot of people have texted me and said, man, I got to watch the Super Bowl with my dad. And I mean, I'm reading through some of these. My dad and my grandpa are no longer here, and it's great moments that we share. And I mean, it's all things that were born out of this era, which is the greatest era of Saints football. And as I've said many times today, and will continue to say, the most influential athlete that has ever come through the state of Louisiana. Feel free to join us on the JimsFirearms.net phone lines. 499-1045 or toll free 844-568. Matt, 844-568-6288. We'll knock out a break. We'll come back, and also Otter Locks in about 15 minutes. Stick around here on AFR.
AFR.
If you need to sell your home, you know what to do. Call the realtor that sells more homes than anyone. Call Darren James and get your home sold. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com, agent225.com. But remember, if you're buying or selling, call Darren James. New on the site today. Manning Drive in Prairieville, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,800 square feet, $269,900. It could be yours right now. Agent225.com. But let me remind you, if you're buying a home, don't go into the home buying process without a realtor on your side, without Darren James. Remember, it is such a seller's market right now that if you're buying and you want to make sure that your offer is competitive, or maybe you want to know when new listings come on the market first, work with a realtor. Work with Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I'm feeling good. So good. I just thought you should know.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Sports wouldn't be the same without the die-hard fans. That's why we're highlighting the fans that do the most. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge brings you the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week. Check it out at 1045ESPN.com, the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Acura of Baton Rouge for attractive offers on the MDX.
Have you been issued a ticket for texting?
Speeding or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, glad you're rolling along. Honor Locks here a little more than 10 minutes from right now. As I mentioned, we'll take your calls, texts, emails, tweets. A lot of people want to talk about Drew Brees after announcing his retirement on Sunday. Alex is in Baton Rouge. Alex, thanks for the call, man.
Hello?
Hey, Alex, you're up. Go ahead, man. Alex, you're up. Go ahead. All right. Alex is gone. There's a pretty easy concept when you work a phone. If somebody talks to you, you talk back on the other end. All right. If you want to join us, you can. 499-1045. You can tweet us at Matt Moscona or jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube channel and watch 1045 ESPN YouTube channel. Lots of ways that you can get involved in the show. LSU basketball getting ready to take on St. Bonaventure. It'll be Saturday, 12:45 Central Time on TNT. Will Wade met with the media on Sunday after the selection show press conference and talked about what the schedule is going to be like this week for his team.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting to see when we play. You know, we're gonna leave out of here early tomorrow morning. We're still in Nashville. It's about 4.5 hour ride. We talked to Missouri today, who made it. We're gonna bus up there and go through the testing protocols. From what I understand, we're gonna be in our rooms for a couple days. Based on our math, we'll be able to practice or have a workout on Wednesday afternoon. Probably just knock some rust off, do some shooting, work on ourselves a little bit. Then Thursday and Friday start our normal 2-day prep for Bonaventure and get ready to play on Saturday.
It'll be a long time away from home. And by the way, LSU basketball did tweet today that they have arrived officially on site in Indianapolis for the NCAA tournament. So LSU left Baton Rouge middle of last week to go up to Nashville for the SEC tournament. And from Nashville, they went to Indianapolis. So they did not come back to Baton Rouge. They went straight to the NCAA tournament. So you're talking about have been gone by the middle of this week for a full week and then through the weekend. So it's a long time to be away from home, and they'll have to do their diligence to manage this process of being away from home. But while I do hate the draw completely, it's what played out for LSU is the singular thing that we've talked about for weeks that they were trying to avoid, which is avoid the 8-9 game. And it felt like they had an awesome opportunity to do that because they were playing so well down the stretch, winning 4 straight games and having beaten Missouri on the road and beating Arkansas. And true, LSU didn't have a lot of meat on the bone in the pre-conference in large part because their schedule was wrecked because of COVID. The one opportunity they had against St. Louis, they lost, and then they had the SEC Big 12 Challenge against Texas Tech, and they blew it in the final minute. But it still felt like the way they finished, and especially now seeing Florida get a 7 seed, the justification for LSU being an 8 is just non-existent. But the draw is what it is. You've got to go play it. And I am going to be, LSU's an early 2-point favorite over St. Bonaventure. And I'm going to be very interested to see if LSU is able to get past St. Bonaventure, how they fare against Michigan, because it's a Michigan team that has been among the top 5 in the country all season long, and they've been obviously among the nation's elite, but down the stretch did have some moments. Getting blown out by Illinois, losing to Michigan State, because they lost to Ohio State, which is, there's no shame in that, but there were a couple of those moments. And that's one of those games where I kind of feel like if LSU elevates its game, as it has been prone and apt to do this year, this team in particular, when faced with the challenge of playing one of the best teams in the country, they've generally elevated their game. When they desperately needed that game against Tennessee, they ran them off the floor. when they were faced with, amid the losing streak of losing to Bama and Kentucky, and then here comes Texas Tech, and we're thinking, crap, this thing could really start to spiral. They elevated their game and played arguably their best 39 minutes of the year. Curious to see if they're able to get past St. Bonaventure, how they fare in that game against Michigan. Alex is in Baton Rouge. Hey, Alex, go ahead, man.
Hey, man. Just wanted to read a quote from Drew Brees. I think maybe everybody should hear it. They don't already know it. He says, when you wake up, think about winning the day. Don't worry about a week or a month from now. Just think about one day at a time. If you're worried about the mountain in the distance, you might trip over the molehill right in front of you. Win the day.
Was that in his book?
Yeah, I think so. I found it online earlier, and it just, man, I keep reading it, and I'm like, I don't know if he's finding these quotes from somewhere or he's coming up with it himself. I mean, it's just really inspiring, and I mean, I don't know. Just wanted to share that with everybody.
You got it, man. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for taking the time. Listen, I totally understand where you're going, because I think sometimes, just as a society, I'm not trying to get so philosophical or deep here. Please don't misunderstand me. But there is a forever conversation about athletes as role models. There's the old, Charles Barkley. I'm not a role model in the Nike commercial. But I think we have a tendency to look to athletes as role models. Whether it's justified or not, whether we should or shouldn't, it's just something that we do. Especially when you're a younger person, you look up to athletes. They do things that you would love to do. That's why kids wear Steph Curry jerseys and try to shoot threes even when they can't reach the goal. But just because someone's a great athlete doesn't also in turn mean that they're a great person or someone you should look up to with respect to how to live your life. When that happens, it's fantastic. But the thing about Drew Brees is that while he's a sensational football player and clearly is a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest of all time, etc., you also have always just had the understanding that he's just between the ears, just different. He's a guy who's always been willing to be open about his faith. And one of the interesting things about reading his book, so if you remember, after the Saints won the Super Bowl, both Drew Brees and Sean Payton published books. And one of the things that's striking about Drew Brees' book is the structure of it is faith-based in nature. I mean, he's someone who's been very willing and open to share his faith. Whether you agree to it, it's irrelevant, but it's just clear that he's a guy that is willing and has always been willing to view himself as more than just a football player. Football is what he did. It's not who he was. It was a channel he used and did so brilliantly to other avenues. And I think that's what Alex, the guy who just called, was alluding to, which is he's just a different kind of cat. And it's when you run across people like that in life, be it in sports or whatever, they tend to succeed in whatever. It's why I'm not surprised at all that Drew Brees, as an investor, has had so much success as a businessman, be it walk-ons or Jimmy John's or Dunkin' Donuts or whatever, all the stuff that he's done. I mean, he's just that guy, the FNA, the Flag Football League that he's doing. He kind of has the Midas touch because he's just one of those people in life that's going to succeed because he has that type of clarity and vision. So we're just very fortunate that he brought it to New Orleans and exhibited that on the football field for as long as he did. When they had the Super Bowl in 2019, when they had the 10-year anniversary of the Super Bowl and they honored the 2009 team, there was an Instagram post, you probably remember this, that Reggie Bush put out. And Drew Brees didn't know it, but Reggie Bush was in the indoor facility while Brees was working, and he was going through, without a ball or anyone else there, Drew Brees was simulating the entire game by himself at the other end of the indoor when he didn't know anybody else was there. And Reggie Bush took a video of it and put it on Instagram. And he said, you want to know why he's great? This is why he's great. Well, everybody else has gone home. the Hall of Fame quarterback is in the indoor by himself down at the other end, running through mental reps of the entire game. I mean, when you have that type of drive, determination, whatever it is, at whatever you do, you're going to succeed at some level. And certainly at Drew Brees' case, it's at an elite level as he's paired elite level skills with that preparation, determination, heart, attitude. And we've seen elite results for 15 years. So cheers to a happy retirement for Drew Brees. The booth on NBC certainly calling next. And no doubt we'll all be watching and cheering for him, whatever it is next. It is After Further Review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Monday show is always brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, door siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. Final break of the show. When we come back, we'll wrap up with Otter Locks and what we learned. Hang around on AFR.
AFR.
Man, we learned during quarantine, so many of us learned during quarantine, that if you don't have a pool, you better have a pool. Pinnacle Exterior Construction. Great new sponsor here on After Further Review. Call Shane Dant, my friends over at Pinnacle Exterior Construction. Pools, outdoor kitchens, spas, fences, decks, bulkheads. Get to the website and check out pictures of their beautiful jobs, all the work that they've done. PECbuilt.com, PECbuilt.com, Pinnacle Exterior Construction, PECbuilt.com, PECbuilt.com. Going through this process right now. We have a pool at our house, but we're trying to upgrade our outdoor space. So what we're looking at doing is maybe add in some of the outdoor kitchen type stuff, grill, bar top, things like that. So we had Shane come out to the house. They're going to have their artist draw some renderings for us. He'll walk us through the entire process. If you're thinking about upgrading your outdoor space, trust Pinnacle Exterior Construction.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA, you can get a Corolla with 0% financing or buy it for $19,158. That's 0% financing. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
"50 years ago on Easter Sunday, Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo proudly opened our doors, and we've been hopping ever since. 5 decades of connecting people with animals, teaching our community about the problems facing wildlife and how we can help, and working with zoos across the world to protect endangered species. Today, our future is taking flight by stretching the possibilities of what your zoo can become, while we keep it fun and affordable for everyone. Thanks for coming along."
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Cool on that.
The moment you realize something is truly luxury is the moment you put it to use. Purchase or lease a new Infiniti QX80 online today with Infiniti Now.
Visit Infiniti of Baton Rouge at 13540 Airline Highway or online at InfinityBR.com.
after further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Down the stretch we come, wrapping up a Monday edition of AFR, and glad to have you hanging out with us here. One thing left to do, find out who we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks. Otter Locks.
All right, we welcome aboard the one and only, the incomparable and sometimes incomprehensible Jimmy Ott back from Vegas. How was Vegas, Otter?
No doubt. Circa is legit. It is really. They've upped the ante on the level of sports books and the pool area. It's legit, man. It was really, really fun.
The Circa Sportsbook is the one that is the giant, like the 50-foot screen by the pool?
142-foot screen by the pool.
142, my mistake.
Yes.
I know it's bonkers, I know.
And, Fish, it's just... It's the guy, the owner, the developer is a sports gambling enthusiast, and so I mean he just I did a little video scroll of the sports book inside too. It just goes on and on and on. So it's really now the Westgate. We still went and hung out at the Westgate Superbook on Thursday night. Matt Humans from Beeson got a suite over there. So Doug Kazarian and some others from Beeson came and met us. And so it was that's still a really big one. I think they have more space, but Circa, as far as the level of TVs and things, are there real good. Hey, John Gruden, 2 suites over on from a Saturday.
How
over
about
at
that,
the
man?
Sportsbook. Yeah. He's watching a little Oklahoma State, Texas, the final there.
I love it, man. Well, what do you think about tonight, man? What are you playing?
Yeah, I mean, it is a light card. I mean, after you've had this run, I'm even a little bit on empty on the fuel. But there's one game I like a little bit tonight in the NBA, and it goes at 6, goes in 9 minutes. The Wizards catching 9 at home against the Bucks, and Wizards is kind of better than they should be this year. We know about Beal and all the attention he's getting. 19 and 18 against the spread. Bucks 18 and 20 against the spread. 9 on the road, just seems like a little bit too high early on. But this is, I'm regrouping today, man. I have to admit it. Okay, I am just trying to kind of at the fueling station, just kind of get fueled up again.
How did you do this weekend?
Very, very, very good. So, really good. And hey, how about our tournament pick? We hit 14-1 on Georgia Tech, and we're an overtime away from hitting 7-1 on Illinois. My buddy Matt Humans and Wes Reynolds who come on the show from Beeson, they gave me Justin Thomas at 20-1. And I was pretty good. In college basketball this weekend. So, hey, man.
Good.
Yes, catfish fights on me at Ivar's.
Y'all go see the Otter tonight at Ivar's. I'll give you one in the National Hockey League tonight. I like the Sabres at home puck line. So +1.5 at home Buffalo Sabres tonight. So
gotcha. Okay. You got on the puck line. They're the dog. They're getting +1.5.
They're +1.5. Yes, I want the puck
Come on,
line
Colucci.
with the Buffaloes. Everything. I hit with Ottawa yesterday. The Ottawa Senators. They were the underdog and they won outright last night. So I'm feeling it a little bit again, Otter. Hit a little bit of a cold spell, but I feel like I'm heating up again.
Got a bunch of college basketball specialists on tonight to break down also the odds versus the seeds. Did LSU, did they get screwed, on this seed? So we'll talk about where they stack up with the odds. See the NET, we know that, but some of the odds may paint a little different picture. But what's that?
What do you think? Did they get screwed?
I think the NET is right there with the 7 seed. They left it too close, and they played like a 4 seed this weekend.
I know.
I mean, they knocked Ole Miss out of the tournament. They beat Arkansas with a long winning streak in conference play. And, Ole Miss had won 8 of 10 going into that game, and then took Alabama, who everybody's picking in their Final Four, but they left it too close. And some of the St. Louis, and why now turn it on? So. Their NET is their NET, Matt, and if that's 28, bro, that's one spot from an 8 seed.
I know.
So, it's unfortunate, but because they're better. And, now they're playing a little bit better on defense. They're playing harder. They're playing with some more energy. They're playing smarter.
Yeah.
So, hey, look, and listen, Michigan is vulnerable if they get past Sabani. Michigan without Livers, he's important. He's one of their senior starters. They have 3 of them, so they're very good, but they have the longest odds of coming out of their regional, meaning they're the most vulnerable.
Otter, have a great show, man. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate it.
Game Time with Jimmy Ott follows us in Baton Rouge or online at 1045ESPN.com. Shout out to mycleanliving.net, mycleanliving.net. Air purifiers, NASA technology proven to eliminate dozens of pathogens, including the virus that causes COVID-19. Y'all check it out, mycleanliving.net. Ray, what did you learn today?
Anthony Ranaudo thinks this LSU baseball team is better than we thought.
Paulie.
New England turning back to the LSU North.
What about you, Matt?
LSU North in New England. Y'all have a great night.
AFR.
Brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. I was looking at my note that said Sabres plus 1.5. I was like, it's not brought to you by the Sabres plus 1.5. Although, if that hits tonight, you'll be very grateful. Maybe you'll go buy a vehicle at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland or online at southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online, southpointvw.com. Played golf today. Pop the hatch in the back. Plenty of room for the golf clubs, golf shoes in there as well, and some other stuff, some Hudco hats and whatnot. But tons of space. You can lower the third row by pushing a button. Raise it if you need to. Got Drew's car seat in the middle. If you're moving the family or just yourself, it's stylish. It's spacious. It's sleek. It's the Atlas from South Point Volkswagen. And remember, great German engineering without the cost. Manufactured at their Tennessee plant, so made in the USA. South Point Volkswagen. Online, southpointvw.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
$29,995 for a new Ford F-150. Bayou Ford in LaPlace has brand new 2020 Ford F-150s for only $29,995. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.